Absolutely, should be 35 cars around the Oulton Park circuit. It's going to get very busy when we get into lap traffic. Got the three different classes, Class A, Class B and Class D, based on power to weight ratios. 2 hours, as we say, the pit window is sort of open at any time. You've got to make a 3-minute stop during that time. Some cars have bigger fuel tanks than others, so sort of your pit stop window is dependent on what your fuel tank allows. And it was very close in qualifying. 5 cars separated by 1 second on this long 2.5+ mile lap, so it should be a very competitive race to look forward to.
It should. We possibly have a championship that could be wrapped up today as well, because Steve Cheatham had a strong season in his Porsche box in Class B. If he wins with fastest lap, then by my mathematics, then Andrew Leipzig and Emran Khan would need to finish at least 3rd in Class C, having had dramas last time out at Silverstone. So the car's coming around on the green flag lap. The safety car is pulling in. The red lights are on. The race about to get underway then. Here they come up to the line, and it is side by side Leon Bidgeway and Carl Swift then, as the lights go out and the race gets underway, and they're side by side. In fact, 3 abreast into Oulton corner for the first time, and it's the number 33 car that has the lead at the moment. That is Luke Sejikowski, who started 5th on the grid, and there's a spinner. That's the Leon Bidgeway pole position exige that has gone round. Must have been some contact there, but everyone else is managing to go past him. But it looks like it's Luke Sejikowski in the lead then, as they head through Cascades for the first time.
Well, somehow he's come from the 3rd row of the grid, hasn't he, to lead the race? So a very good start there from Luke Sejikowski. Probably the most powerful car at the front of the grid. But the top 2 are way ahead of the rest, him and Cole Swift, after that spin for Leon Bidgeway. There is the 3rd place car, which I think is Rory Hind, coming through. So that's really mixed up the order, Leon Bidgeway's spin through Old Hall. Looks like Steve Cheatham's already 5th or 6th, so the Class B leader. They're moving then ahead of Adam Burgess and the NSX as 2 leaders nose to tail.
No sign of any yellow flags at Old Hall corner, so I don't think there's anyone stranded there, which is good news. So the race able to continue. There is Steve Cheatham. He's the man, number 43 in the Porsche Boxster, that leads the championship coming into this weekend. He's had a lot of success within the class this season, taking 4 class wins out of the 5 races that we've had so far this year, this being round 6. There is the field coming down into his lots for the first time, and there you could see the number 55 car going through, which is the Simon Wallace Seat Leon.
Absolutely, so it's Cheatham that leads Class B ahead of Colin Gillespie's BMW, and down to 3rd has gone Adam Burgess. There they are in the NSX. So Adam Burgess dropping back here, the leaders. Cole Swift hopping over the curbs in the area Motorsport Seat, chasing after Luke Sejikowski down in towards Lodge Corner. So a quick start from Sejikowski, but getting those front tyres up to temperature much easier. It's Cole Swift in the front-wheel drive car, trying to draw up alongside Sejikowski, coming up towards Old Hall. Let's see if he can challenge. He can't. So still leading is Sejikowski, but he's struggling to get the car turned into Old Hall there, so that could give Cole Swift a good run onto Cascade. First of all, they will have to deal with the avenue. Through Denton's they will turn, and there they are, the top 2, the BMW and the Seat, absolutely together, separated by just 0.3 of a second.
So lap 2 of this 2-hour race. They'll go. Oh, and there's some fluid there, by the looks of it, coming from the back of the 2nd place car, being driven by Carl Swift. We'll keep an eye on that, see if that recurs, but he's trying to go alongside Luke Sejikowski into the lead of the race anyway, as they head down towards the right-hander at Chello's corner for the 2nd time in this race, and they are pretty much nose to tail. And as they come out of the corner, he's on the grass, Carl Swift. It's not a 10-lap sprint, this, Carl. You don't need to try and get alongside Luke Sejikowski in quite such a dramatic fashion at this stage of the race. Oh, and there's Joe Taylor, just getting past our commentary box window after that drama for him on the first lap. He, we think, lost 4th gear possibly during qualifying this morning, so whether he's got more gearbox issues this afternoon, we'll try and we'll wait and see.
Leon Bidgeway, there he is. Leon Bidgeway, after that spin, his Lotus 2 in trouble. So both the Class A Lotuses, real dramas. Joe Taylor's car sounded rough. Is it a puncture on the back left corner there for Leon Bidgeway? Maybe that's what caused him to spin. We don't know that for sure. Either way, he's for the pit lane. Do we think that's a puncture on the rear left corner?
It looks like it might be. Certainly some damage on that corner, whether it's a puncture or what. Difficult to tell with the way the sunlight and the shadows are reflecting off it. But he's pulling into the pits now, so we'll see if he can get back out into the race. But disappointment for Leon, having started the race from pole position. There are the leaders then, heading into Lodge Corner for the 2nd time. It is still Luke Sejikowski ahead of Carl Swift, but there's not a lot to choose between them.
Wonder if Rory Hind is picking up. There's a car off. That's the Janetta, isn't it? The invitation car, Stuart Dayburn. That is at Druids. as Bidgeway has made his way into the pits. Just looking here, yeah, Rory Hind in third. He's on the same pace as the two leads. Janetta's getting out of the gravel, so that's good news. Yes, and the Bidgeway team going straight for that rear left corner, so I'm sure that is a puncher. It's very busy in the mid-pack. That includes Darren Kell in the Class C Mazda MX-5, and he leads that class. He was 16th overall, so he missed all the dramas on the first lap. So Darren Kell there leads Class C, I think, at the end of lap 2. As well. I think he's got a good margin over the rest, a very large margin. It's second place for Andrew Lightstead, the class championship leader there. So the pole sitters in that class, 72. Where has that car gone then? The 73, sorry, the John Munro car. I didn't see that come through, so we'll check on that.
Okay, so meanwhile Leon Bidgeway's car's been jacked up now, and on that left rear there is a new wheel and tyre going on by the looks of it, so we'll keep an eye on what goes on there.
I don't think John Munro started the race. I can't see him on the timing screen anywhere, and there's only 33 starters, so the TWP racing car looks like it didn't make the start, or was that the car there on the screen after saying that? Back to the that looks...
Yeah, it looks like it could be, doesn't it? The Munro car. We'll try and figure that out. There's the 91 car going through as well. That's the Oliver Owen E36 M3 that started on row 8 of the grid.
Yeah, that's 73 there. I can't spot that on the top.
There it is. It's 12.
It's so far up the order, so we missed that completely. So it's John Munro that leads Class C over Darren Kell and Andrew Lightstead. So the Class C car's coming really strong at the start of the race then. John Munro moving up the field from 18th to 12th, so a great start there. Yeah,
and probably helped by all that chaos that went on the first lap. Meanwhile, the leaders are coming through to complete lap 3 and start lap 4 of the race. It's still Luke Sedziakowski head of class. But here's this battle going on there. It's a genuine battle that is occurring between John Munro and the 91 car, which is the one that was started by Oliver Owen. And they are disputing 12th and 13th position. The Owen car is a Class B car, so a bit more powerful. By rights, it should be ahead.
Adam Burgess has moved into second in Class B, getting ahead of Colin Gillespie. So Burgess recovering from his pole position and a slower start. There's Steve Cheetham, though, who leads that class, just going through your shot 2.5 seconds ahead as he heads his way down Lakeside. 2.5 seconds ahead of Adam Burgess, lapping fairly similar pace. Colin Gillespie hasn't got the pace of the two of them, so he's dropping away within that class. They're way ahead of the rest. It's Oliver Owen, who's fourth in Class B, and William Beach is clear. They're the two leaders in the class, so heading together through the Shallows hairpin.
Yeah, so we are on lap number 4. Colton Swift has done the best lap of the race so far, 1:51.75, just fractionally faster than the race leading Luke Sedziakowski BMW M4. So Cheetham it is, leading Class B and doing what he needs to do in order to try and wrap up the championship.
Looks like Joe Taylor's still lapping, but way off the pace, 2 minutes 13. So you can't run around at that pace for 2 hours, can you? I wouldn't have thought.
And disappointment for Joe, having had such success last time out at Silverstone with the victory there.
News from the pit lane is that it's a suspension issue for Liam Bidgeway, not a puncture, okay. And they're saying there was contact at the start of the race there that caused that. Okay,
I can see some gaffer tape being called into action, so that's presumably to sort out bodywork rather than the suspension issue.
You'd hope so.
Meanwhile, the race continues.
Change for the lead.
And we do have a change for the lead, and quite a big lead now for Carl Swift, 2.17 seconds.
Slower lap from Sedziakowski. I wonder if he perhaps a bit offline whenever that move happened. So it's Swift, Sedziakowski and Hind, the top three now.
Yeah, so it was also the best lap of the race so far for Carl Swift, 1:51.26, so it did go quicker as well. There you can see Adam Meeland. That car is one that had drama yesterday in testing with a drive shaft failure early on in the day, so I don't think Adam got any running at all yesterday. Sam McKee, his co-driver, just about 20 minutes at the start of the day, and he's got the MX-5 right behind him.
That's Matthew Tidmarsh moving over from Max 5 racing into endurance racing. Last time out at Silverstone, enjoying himself, and therefore coming out again here. Tidmarsh was on the podium actually last time out in Class C. There's higher up in the class, that's Darren Kell in his Mazda 2, going 3 wide across the line as a Class B car comes one side, the Invitational car comes the other. It was Steve Dolman's Mazda was the Class B car, the Invitational car was the Janetta of Stuart Daber, but I think they all survived that moment as the rest of the field flow through. So in Class C it's Munro that leads Darren Kell. And it'll be interesting to see now, Ian, what sort of pace Cole Swift can do, because he's only a second away from the qualifying time, despite having a full tank of fuel at this stage, and a big fuel tank in that Seat, so they'll be hoping to go for a long time. There's Joe Taylor on your screens, the winner from Silverstone, who was on the podium at Spa too, and sort of brought himself into championship contention, but this gearbox issue and about to be lapped after just 5 laps of the motor race.
Yeah, so it's not gone well for Joe Taylor, I'm afraid. Here he would have had hopes for trying to take a victory here as well, and he was quick in the early part of the qualifying session as well. He was on pole position for quite a long time.
Tegiwa hasn't fallen away from Swift on this lap, or not too much, about half a second, so he's on fairly similar pace. Actually does a personal best to Tegiwa, 2.6 seconds away from Swift, then, and 3 seconds ahead of Rory Hind. In 4th position, making his debut in the series, is Philip Moulsdale and his M3. There on your screen is the 5th place car, which is Matthew Wallace in a Seat, similar to the lead car. Then in 6th position is the Class B leader, Steve Cheetham, but he's been caught by Adam Burgess. So if we watch the next cars through after the Seat, we'll get the Class B leaders that are nose to tail then. So Steve Cheetham has been caught by Adam Burgess, this NSX that runs a Honda Civic engine, doesn't it? The 2-litre Civic engine, absolutely together, Ian.
Yeah, and they were heading down towards Cascades. And we'll try and pick those up in a moment. In the meantime, we'll go back to Adam Meeland with that MX-5 with Matthew Tismarsh. There's Charlie Campbell in the unusual Peugeot RCZ. That's an ex-Belgian Endurance Championship car as well. Let's watch the number 10 car go past our commentary box, which is the Lotus that has been started by Oliver Crease, a Class B car that is showing with Simon Middleton. There's the other Lotus that we're just talking about, and now you can see it's also been lapped by the Heinz and Fitzgerald BMW.
That's going well, isn't it? The E36, one of the older cars on the grid, really. 1990s model, I guess that would be, about 20 years old, that machine of Rory Hind. Owen Fitzgerald, I see just in front of us on the pit wall. He'll be getting on board that car in the second half of this race. 10 minutes in already, and there's the leader then. Cole Swift making his way underneath the Warwick Bridge down into Lodge Core in number 6, this area motorsport run. Seat Leon, Cole Swift, former winner of the in the TTR UK series here at Oulton Park, wasn't it, at the beginning of the season, in a different car. Across the line goes Cole Swift, just 100th of a second away from the fastest lap of the race, and extends his lead up to over 4 seconds now over Luke Tegiwa.
Here's that battle for Class B honours though, and it's Steve Cheetham leading from Adam Burgess in that Honda NSX in second place. We saw that out for the first time at Silverstone, didn't we?
We actually did it at Spa, of course. That wasn't part of our coverage, was it? Indeed.
Yes, it was out at Spa as well, and it's had a few different drivers at the wheel so far, but that's a pretty tight battle. There's the 3rd place car of Rory Hind, the E36 M3 that Josh was talking about, being a more elderly car on this grid, but it's all relative.
The NSX, I'm not really sure if there's any other NSX that race sort of in this country.
I've not seen any, no.
So it's great to see that out here with the 750 Motor Club, the TI Motorsport car, and off the car, off the circuit even, goes Matt Wallace, wasn't it? The 5th place Seat, way off at Cascades. He almost ended up at the Nickelbrook chicane, hasn't he?
He almost went around the Foster's circuit, didn't he? He was trying to take a shortcut, but he's going to rejoin the track, but he'll have lost an enormous amount of time there. Certainly lost a couple of positions. Depends where he sort of feeds in relative to the likes of Colin Gillespie and so forth.
That car finished 5th place last time out at Silverstone. That is where it was running. Here's that battle that still continues between Adam Meeland and Matthew Tidmarsh in Class C. Over Deersley they go. I reckon this is for 4th in class, just behind the championship leader, Andrew Lightstead. The Mazdas seem to be a better car around this circuit than the big heavy BMWs. Here's a leader though, overall leader, Cole Swift, with a bit of trim already. Perhaps not actually. Well, there's a bit of trim hanging off, but I think it's okay for Cole Swift, who shares that car with Rob Baker. Both Civic Cup champions are Swift and Baker. Across the line goes Cole Swift, completes 7 laps, another decent lap in the 51s. Looks like one of the cars about to start the race late, I think, Ian.
That's the 191 car of Adrian Ferdinand's being shown to the end of the pit lane, I think.
It appeared that came from the garage. Here are the Class B leaders, they're already in traffic as well. Cheetham getting away on this lap as the blue flags waved over Deers Leap, and across the line they will come, and a bit of a bigger margin at the end of 7 laps within that class. Steve Cheetham a second ahead of Adam Burgess. They're 5th and 6th overall now, so the Class B car's really moving up well. Steve Cheetham Has had a couple of overall podiums actually. He had a second at Spa, and he had a third at Donington Park at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, meanwhile, by the way, Leon Bidgeway update, he's still in the pit lane, cars, suspension still being worked on, and also into the pits we have.
That's Matt Wallace, isn't it? So perhaps that off he had at Cascade was caused by an issue where the car, the radiator, the grille full of grass, so that might be the other reason for the pit stop.
I did notice when I parked my car this morning, the grass had been recently cut, so I suspect there's a lot of loose grass clippings as well all around the circuit, which have got sort of lodged in the radiator. Their team have done their best to try and clear that out, get Matt back out onto the circuit.
Looks like Rob Baker's down there, the area motorsport boss, helping to run that car by the looks of things this weekend. They're having a look at all the tyres, making sure they're all inflated, and so it looks like they're going to have a look at the engine bay too. But here's the leader, a similar car of Cole Swift, who is now 5 seconds up the road. Looks like we've got our first driving standards flag of the race going out to car number 93, which is Russell Tamplin's MX-5. Presumably that's for exceeding track limits. So across the line goes Cole Swift on a new fastest lap of the race. So 1 minute 51.17, extending his lead up to 9 seconds now. And that is a new lap record too from Cole Swift. Over a second and a half quicker than Andy Marston's best from last season. So a great lap there from Cole Swift, and less than a second away from qualifying lap time with a good tank full of fuel.
There is the number 76 car, which is that of Michael Downey, the 42-year-old from Haddington, in his second full season of racing. His dad David also races as well. So he started racing last year in Club Enduro. He's had a 12th, 3rd and a 6th within the class so far this season. And the 55 car of Matthew Wallace goes back out. And that 76 car is just ahead, or just behind, I should say, one of the Mazdas. I'm just trying to work out which Mazda that is, which is ahead of it now, and that is the 68 car, isn't it? So that is the car of Darren Kell, who's going solo this time. He raced with his son James at Silverstone. The Ginetta, meanwhile, is into the pits. That's the invitation class car. We saw that have a spin Druids early on. That's making a stop. And again, there's grass being released from the radiator there. So that does appear to be a problem today, Josh, with lots of grass getting stuck in the radiator when people go off.
Absolutely. James Kellogg can't be here, of course, as he's racing at Knock Hill, part of the Toka package in the Ginetta GT4 Super Cup, but has been a regular in the championship with his dad during the course of the season. They're second in Class C, just a couple of points behind Andrew Lightstead and Imran Khan, who are their head off. But for Class B, it's side by side, because Adam Burgess has got alongside Steve alongside Steve Cheetham, heading up towards Druids, and can't quite go through. Adam Burgess thinks the better of that. But this is a great battle in Class B between the Porsche and the Honda. Cheetham in the Lodge Sports Racing Team cars, the TI Motorsport Honda NSX that's sitting right in the slipstream, heading down towards Lodge, snatches the brake as he tries to get the car slowed down. Up Deers Leap they will come, but they are tied together, 5th and 6th overall, leading Class B, the two of them, first and second, 20 seconds ahead of the rest. So they're clearly the class of the field within their class this season. As Liam Bidgeway's car has been fixed, so that Lotus, or hopefully it's been fixed, heads back out onto the track. Yeah,
it does. I'm sure he'll just give it a bit of a shakedown for a lap or two. He may have to come back into the pits just to get things checked over, but he'll be keen to get back out and see what he can salvage from there. And looking at where he is in the points, well, he's not really anywhere in particular. I don't think he's finished a race, or if he has, it was right towards the back so far this season. So he'll just be keen to get a result under his belt, I should think, will be on Bidgeway. Meanwhile, I can still see Joe Taylor circulating. What lap times is he managing to put in now? He's done a 1:53. It's his best lap of the race.
So he has actually done a decent lap there, but I wonder if he's rectified whatever the...
Oh no, hang on, I'm reading the wrong column there. The wrong column. Try again at 2:08.
That's, yes. If he puts up with that for 2 hours just to score a couple of points, that's commitment, isn't it?
Well, but the thing is, I mean, with some of his championship drivers, rivals like the Browns, they're not here this weekend, who is just behind him in the championship. Never know what's going to happen with the Luke Sejikowski and David Whitmore car. It might be crucial at the end of the season just to finish, and if there's a bit of attrition, we might even get a few points out of it. Very close there between those two Class C BMWs going past us. It's all very close as well between the two Class B leaders as they go under the bridge towards Druids once again. So, as it was on the previous lap, it's not quite as close actually. It's still, what a moment there by the looks of it possibly, for the Porsche up ahead, and he's got it sorted out okay. So that was
it's crapping, isn't it?
It doesn't look a little bit like it's crabbing that car as it's coming back. That is not handling correctly at all, and it's bizarre that the Boxster of Steve Cheetham is able to stay ahead of the NSX. Is he going to come into the pits? No, yes. Yes, I don't know if he's had a choice in the matter, but yes, Steve Cheetham coming into the pits, so I don't know if we'll be able to find out what's gone on with that car, but you're absolutely right, that's bizarre, isn't it, Josh?
You said about attrition, didn't you? And that's what's happening there to Steve Cheetham's got that crabs down in the pit lane, and he sort of saves it, which was a rather dramatic moment. The team that E2M, what's happened? Because they haven't been watching the screens, obviously, but what's caused that car to crab like that? Whether there was contact out on the track, we don't know. But that moves Adam Burgess up into the Class B lead.
Steve Cheetham's getting out of the car. The championship leader is out of the car.
Adam Burgess was so cautious behind Cheetham. It was a super slow lap from him, but he didn't want to go past a car that was across the track.
Well, I guess there was always that danger. He was probably just thinking, I don't want to get taken out here by a car that's handling so badly. That was very strange, wasn't it?
So that means Burgess is actually only 10 seconds ahead of Colin Gillespie. That gap is halved.
Yeah, it's lost him 15 seconds, basically, hasn't it?
So we'll keep an eye on that and see if Cheetham can get back out there or not. It's not a massive drama, I guess, in his championship, but it's at first a sign of an issue for that car all season.
No, it's run very well, hasn't it? And Steve Cheetham in that number 43 car has gone pretty well. Local driver as well, of course. It's his home circuit, so he'll be disappointed if he's not able to bring it home and wrap it up this weekend. The man from Denton in Greater Manchester. So there's the NSX now on its own. Still leading Class B, that is Adam Burgess.
Second place car into the pit lane. Luke Sejikowski into the pits in the TI Motorsport BMW. It's a potential issue here too. This means Cole Swift's half a minute up the road from anybody, because the Rory Hind cars had a slow lap as well. So has that been an incident between the two cars that were kind of close together on the circuit? So Philip Moosdale, new to the series, is up to second. Rory Hind is third. In the pits is Luke Sejikowski. We've seen issues for this car recently. At Spa it had power problems there. It had punctures, didn't it, at Silverstone last time out, and they've gone straight to the engine bay. Luke Sejikowski out of the car, and look at the mechanics. I think that might be day done.
Oh, right, well that's well, this is exactly why Joe Taylor is persisting, isn't it? For this kind of attrition that will afflict other people, because we'll see if that car does get back. There's bits of steam and smoke just rising from underneath the engine bay of that car now.
One of the mechanics is sort of doing the cut to the neck, to the throat side, saying that's done. But we shall see. There's our Class C leader. We haven't spoken much about him. That's John Munro, who's still running there in 12th. That'll become 10th, actually. It'll be a top 10 position, won't it, at this early stage of the race? Yeah,
he's just got ahead of that BMW there of Oliver Owen, number 91, so that's a change there. That's interesting to see.
He's way ahead of anybody else in Class C, because he's in top 10 overall. Darren Kellen's second's only 20th. So John Munro driving fantastically, the only driver in Class C to get under 2 minutes as well. So great drive from him. Earlier on we didn't think he'd started because he was so far up the order. We were looking in the wrong part of the timing sequence.
Yeah. Well, it's worth pointing out now that we've got our Class A championship leader and our Class B championship leader both in the pit lane now with dramas. So it looks like neither of them are going to pick up a decent result from this, even if they can get their cars back out again before the end. So really they're looking to what's going on in Class C. And Mike Stead and Khan, of course, are the drivers that are leading the Class C championship. Coming into this weekend, they're 22nd overall at the moment.
Car Mazda off here at Cascades, and that's the Darren Kell car. So he's second in Class C, or at least he was. He's only just still. Right behind him is Andrew Lightstead. So this is for second and third in Class C. The two drivers are battling for the championship in that division as well. They're absolutely together up at Highland Bend after that off for Darren Kell. at Cascades.
Just worth reminding people what the class structure here is. So Class A is for cars of up to 300 brake horsepower per tonne. Class B is 240 brake horsepower per tonne maximum. Class C 180 brake horsepower per tonne maximum. There are spot checks done on the Maha dyno here at the 750 Miles Club race meetings. That the weight, by the way, is taken into account without the driver. There's also a team of the driver of the day award put up by the sponsors, Tegiwa, £200 voucher for that as well. So there's our race leader overall, and he's now leading from the Morsdale and Stephen Kent car. It's Peter Morsdale at the wheel of that at the moment by about half a minute.
It's like one of the cars just behind the leader had a big old look up there into Lodge, but I think they got away with it. So 13 laps done now by Cole Swift. He's consistently quick as well, consistently quicker than anybody else out there. So it's been a real star drive, as you'd kind of expect from Cole Swift, a very experienced driver, the 2018 Civic, sorry, that was for Baker, wasn't it, 2018 champion. In Civic Cup, Cole Swift was the runner-up the season before, and has had success in a number of categories. There's the third place car of Rory Hyde out over the curbs on the exit of Lodge Corner. And is he catching Philip Moosdale, who's up in front of him? Not significantly, about 5 seconds between them.
Probably worth just giving a rundown on the order for everybody. So it's the number 6 car of Carl Swift leading the way from number 150, Peter Morsdale in second place. In third place is number 8, Rory Hyde. In fourth is 133, Adam Burgess. In fifth is 15, Colin Gillespie. In sixth place is number 48. That is the car being driven at the moment by Robert Taylor. Seventh is the Will Ashmore and Matty Taylor, number 46, BMW. Eighth is the number 16, Paul Huxley Seat. Ninth is number 73, John Munro in the MX-5. And 10th is the Oliver Owen BMW, as Leon Bidgeway is back into the pits in the number 32 Lotus.
Well, he did a few laps out on track, didn't he, Liam Bidgeway? He did a 53 as well, 1 minute 52, sorry, so his pace was pretty good out there. Now they go into the engine bay, which is, I think that's been the problem for most of the season, hasn't it, getting that car reliable. So they fixed it, but it didn't last for much longer.
No.
Here's our battle for second in Class C now, which is now being led by Andrew Lightshead ahead of Adam Meelan. Darren Kell has dropped to fourth and is under pressure for that position from Matthew Tidmarsh. He gets a big slide on, does Darren Kell, he saves it. But that's a sort of a 4-car battle for second in Class C now, despite the fact that they're, 40, 50 seconds behind the class leader, who's way up the road, John Munro.
Yes, John Munro is almost like he's in a different class. I mean, certainly John Munro, the stronger of the two drivers in that lineup, and hands it over to Nick Dougal for the second part of the race. But John Munro was going to be the quicker of those two drivers. But nevertheless, he'll have given them such a good advantage in the first half of the race. It would be very difficult for them to be caught, you would think.
He did that at Silverstone.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Big slide there from Adam Meelan. So this is all allowing Andrew Lightshead to get away, isn't it? We saw the two BMWs battling earlier, but that gap has extended between the two of them. Yeah, they've got 10 cars between themselves on John Munro that leads the class. Munro leads it by 45 seconds, isn't it, I reckon?
Here's the Class B leading car, Adam Burgess, and he's just lapping the Charlie Campbell Peugeot RCZ, number 4. There's Adam Meelan once again in the number 36 BMW. He's a local man, actually, 27 years old, from Nantwich, and I think racing is at his local circuit, Oulton Park, for the very first time, which he's very pleased to do. He's a refinement engineer at Bentley, and he's had relatively little racing experience, so sharing in a few races with Sam McKee, who owns that car.
Yeah, because that's the first time that we've seen this car out in Club Enduro since his accident at Croft, which put them out of the race there. But they did get on the podium at the opener at Donington Park, so they have the potential to be up there. There's second place then, that's Lightshead. There's third Kell, so that's a change, isn't it? Darren Kell has got past Adam Meelan, so starting to recover is Darren Kell, regular Mazda MX-5 racer. He is, and had a successful season. They've been on the podium in every race bar the first one at Donington, and got that win last time out at Silverstone in the closing stages. Meelan puts a wheel on the grass there, turning into Knickerbrook. He got away with it though, but that's allowing Darren Kell to get away, and then you got the Mazda of Matthew Tidmarsh chasing think Tidmarsh was leading his class in the Match 5 Championship, and kind of put that to one side, and he's concentrating on Club Enduro after enjoying a podium at Silverstone last month.
Yeah, that the championship for these previous races, unfortunately not as strong as it might be in terms of numbers. That is the 68 car of Darren Kell, who I saw here racing, not that car, but an MX-5 in the Super Series race here a few weeks ago. He was on the podium in the separate cars with his son James. Both of them on the podium in one of the 3 races that particular day. So 15 laps gone here. It's still Carl Swift leading by about, nearly 40 seconds now. And still leading Class B is Adam Burgess in the Honda NSX, and leading Class C is John Munro, and he is nearly a minute clear now of his nearest class rival, which is the Lightstead car.
Which is on the screen, exiting Cascade, heading down Lakeside. Good battle across the line for what is 5th position now. Colin Gillespie has got the Sayat behind him of Robert Taylor, and also the BMW of the Ashmore and Matthew Taylor car. I didn't get a start driver on that one, but the 3 of them battling for 5th, 6th and 7th all together. Meanwhile, on the screens, we can see Rory Hind, who is there in 3rd position, not really catching Philip Moosdale, about 5 seconds between the pair of them. There's Joe Taylor, who's a couple of laps down now, not really improving his pace, but still looking for points. And then we got the Class C cars in.
Yeah, heading down towards us. So there is that number 79 car being driven by Andrew Lightstead in the first part of this race, the 40-year-old from Bradford. Sarah's managed, started his racing career 9 years ago now at Brands Hatch in a Ford Fiesta XR2. Originally he was racing as part of the Classic Stock Hatch Championship alongside Imran Khan. They both raced together in Stock Hatch at that particular point. And this car actually is a road car, or was a road car in 2016 and converted for racing use in 2017. The Lightstead and Khan car, but it's needed a bit of work on it since the last meeting at Silverstone.
Yes, it's still got a bit of a rippled roof after the bonnet flew up down the Hanger Straight. There is Darren Kell. Is he catching Lightstead? I don't think so, actually. Adam Eland is keeping Kell honest as they come up across the line to complete what is 15 laps for the drivers. And Meelan goes up the inside of Kell for 3rd. Can't get through, though, at Old Hall, and actually loses a bit of time.
Back out into the race from the pit lane goes number 43, Steve Cheetham. So the man that was leading the championship, the car was crabbing 10 minutes or so ago when it came into the pit lane. Let's see if it can get back out on track and have a more successful run and try and pick up some points within Class B, but it will have lost a lot of time.
That battle for 5th we mentioned, both the Class A cars both passed Colin Gillespie on that last lap, so Colin Gillespie has dropped to 7th, and in the meantime he's dropped away from his Class B competitor Adam Burgess, about 20 seconds behind since that occurred. Back across the line has gone Cole Swift, he's way out in front. Flying along in that Sayat. There's the Janetta though on your screen, the invitational car of Stuart Dayburn and David Trigg, which runs in 11th position. We've seen that car since Spa, so it did Spa and it did Silverstone last time out, and it's actually just gone past John Munro into Old Hall to take 9th overall. We have seen that car on the overall podium though in his first race, which was at Spa back in July.
Michael Downey again in the number 76 Porsche Boxers together there, because just up ahead of it is the 719 car, which is being driven by Gavin Johnson in the first part of the race, the PDC Racing machine. Where's that running? That's running in 16th position overall, so that's an all Boxster class position battle. It's about to head down to Cascades. There you've got Class B leader coming through, and he's well into the traffic, isn't he there? But he's lapping the Lightstead car, that's been 20th position overall. They're about to, as they come over the line to complete another lap. And the NSX does indeed go through.
And that Class C battle sort of all extended out now, hasn't it? Lightstead pulling away from Darren Kell, who's there in 3rd in class, but nearly 3 seconds behind now. Then there's a second or so to Adam Meeland, and then a couple of seconds to Matthew Tidmarsh. So they second through to 5th in Class C, not quite as close together as they were a lap or two ago. It's the battle for fifth position goes back through again.
As Steve Cheetham back into the pit lane, sorry, Josh.
And the Taylor and Jones car hasn't come through, so one of the Sayats there, that comes into the pits, doesn't it, just behind Steve Cheetham. So that was in fifth position.
Okay, so that's into the pits, and I guess we're getting towards the part of the race where you might be making a routine stop now. We're about nearly a third of the way through, but let's have a look what's going on down here, down beneath us in the pit lane. The car's jacked up. I can't see from here. Is the driver out of the car in that case, Josh?
Driver's still in, but there's damage to the rear right corner. A bit of bodywork just been pulled away by the mechanic. I wonder if that was scraping the tyre at all. So a bit of an issue there. Steve Cheetham's car, I think they've given up a bit now, put it into the garage. Looked like the rear left corner wasn't pointing where it should be. So what's caused that to happen, though, is probably the bigger concern going forward for Steve Cheetham.
Yeah, so that's still 2 rounds to go. He's still in a good position in the championship. This is a score that he'll drop, of course. Meanwhile, I noticed in the all that little boxer battle that we're talking about, Gavin Johnson's got ahead now of Michael Downey, up into 16th place overall, and Downey's gone down to 17th position. So Gavin Johnson, another local driver, quite a few locals to Oulton Park racing here this weekend. Car being shared with Pip Hammond, who we'll see out later on.
The Robert Taylor and Mark Jones car is going to rejoin, but that's not its 3-minute stop, so I have to make another one, and has dropped way down the order. After that, then we will join around where Matt Wallace, who had a similar issue earlier, and have made a shortened pit stop, and they're pretty much together now on the circuit, but a lap and a half or so back. So it's still Cole Swift that leads. He's nearly 50 seconds now ahead of Philip Moosdale, who's only 4 now ahead of Rory Hind, who's catching slowly. Adam Burgess fourth, leading Class B. 5th is the Ashmore and Taylor car. 6th is Colin Gillespie. 7th, it is the Sayat of Paul Huxley. In 8th position now will be Stuart Dayburn's Janetta. 9th will be John Munro's Mazda, leading Class C, and top 10 completed by Oliver Owen. So this race at Oulton Park certainly seems to be an attritional one in at such an early stage.
It does, doesn't it? I was thinking the Class A entry wasn't as strong as it has been at other meetings anyway today. So not been as much depth in that, which is why we've got Class B and even Class C cars up inside the top 10 on this occasion. Even though it's dry weather, you might think that you'd get that kind of thing if it was a bit wet and once you've got the pit stops underway. But no, it's not such a strong Class A entry today, and that combined with a little bit of attrition across the classes actually. As they're into the Druids there, went the MR2, that's the number 19 car being shared by Nathan Harrison and Martin Buckland. It's Nathan Harrison at the wheel of the 22 GT racing entry at the moment. He was a race winner in the MR2 Mark 1 series and was second at that championship in 2014. Martin Buckland, who hand over to, has been a Class B champion in Sport Specials as well. There is the PDC Racing Porsche going through our screen now, but we've got another pit visitor, and it is the car I was just talking about, I think.
Yeah, the Toyota, the car originally built by Rogue Motorsport, wasn't it? A while ago now, I think, racing the Silverstone 24 Hours, sponsored back then by Forza Motorsport 4, and I suppose that shows you actually how old the car is, because Forza Motorsport have made 2 more games since that point. But into the pit lane has come, I think it was Nathan Harrison, you said, that had started that car. Yeah. So whether Martin Buckland, who's probably the one paying the bills, isn't he, will get a go already, or if that's an issue, perhaps it's an issue actually, because that doesn't look like a standard stop for that car. So another car in this first half of the race that is does have some sort of an issue.
It does indeed. It's back out again now though, so it's back out into the race.
Doesn't like much was done.
No.
Bit of a strange one.
There's our Class C leading car, just heading down towards Lodge Corner. That's the John Munro Nick Dougal car. Actually, the next Class C car has now dropped off the first page of our timing screen, hasn't it? Which means that, yeah, Lightstone is now down into 21st place. Was running in 20th.
Darren Kell's dropped back because Meelan's third, 4th is Tidmarsh, and Darren Kell, perhaps another mistake from here, has dropped to 5th in the class. Was running 3rd last time we spoke about them. So that's an issue for Darren Kell, a small issue for him, dropping back away. Here's a battle on our screens for what is 15th position overall. That is Steve Dolman's Mazda, just ahead of the Michael Downey Porsche, and Downey's going to have a run up across the line, trying to get up alongside the Mazda. Pretty even on speed there, and the Mazda's able to stay ahead as they turn into Old Hall Court. Staying in 15th place, Steve Dolman ahead of Michael Downey, just a quarter of a second apart, and they're only a couple of seconds away from Gavin Johnson, but I think Johnson has passed him on recent laps.
Yeah, I think you're right. Past our commentary box, there's the 55 car on Matthew Wallace after his drop. There's a heck of a lot of cars heading up towards Lodge Corner here, including the Tidmarsh car. You've got the Kell car there, and also lapping them, you have the car being shared by Matty Taylor and Will Ashwell. That's that red and black BMW Compact.
In what is 5th position, being chased by Colin Gillespie, who's in a different class, but battling for 5th and 6th overall. Just a second or so between them, and then a bit further back is Paul Huxley in his Seat, a car he shared with John Gardner, and they are only 15 points behind in the Class A Championship, inconsistent throughout the year. It could be a surprise championship finisher at the end of the season.
Absolutely. Worth noting as well that just behind that battle for 5th and 6th, that's the Ashmore and Taylor car and the Colin Gillespie car, you've then got the race leader. Not too far behind them, as his lap's a long way up the field already. There's Carl Swift here, lapping in, well, best of 151s. You're looking back to, let's say, 6th. The best lap time for Colin Gillespie is 156, so lapping 5 seconds a lap faster than the car in 6th place.
And he's got such good consistency, hasn't he, Cole Swift? Or the last lap, perhaps not the best lap to look at, but generally been much more consistent than Chasers. Second and third are getting closer, aren't they, Rory, to each other? Rory Hind now only 2 seconds behind Philip Moosdale, so that gap is coming down all the time between those two BMWs. It's a E46, I think, for Moosdale, and an E36 for Hind. The Jeff Steele racing car ahead, and Moosdale will share that with Stephen Kent, whereas Rory Hind is sharing with Owen Fitzgerald. There's Matt Wallace recovering from his off early on. He's back up to 17th now in his Seat, a similar car to the lead car. Comes across the line, and we're looking to see how far up the order he can get during the course of the race, and he'll be handing over to his brother Simon during the course of it.
Indeed, so we are now just into the middle third of the race, so probably this is the time when we'll perhaps start to see some of the more routine pit stops happen, depending on whether you're starting with your faster or slower driver. That may affect your thinking as to how deep you go. Of course, the fuel strategy as well, but what we've not had yet, and I daren't even mention it really, safety car, because that's always something that can have potentially quite big impacts on strategy.
Probably all the people in the pit lane heard the word safety car and they were scampering.
Twitched.
Because that is the time to make your pit stop, of course, because it will take a lot less time in reality than doing it in a green flag stop. There's Nathan Harrison after his brief stop in that Toyota, chasing Charles Campbell's Peugeot up across the line. So two race cars, you don't see that often. The GT, it's an MR2, isn't it? The Super GT car chasing the Peugeot RCZ up through Old Hall and down the avenue they go. On the screen, we've got the clear cut car there, the Gen 4 car of William Beach ahead of a Civic, both area motorsport branded cars. The Civic is Luke Handley. Those two cars come up across the line just ahead of Oliver Creeks. That's a three-car battle for what is 11th position overall, and it's for 4th in Class B, heading up into the
All right.
Working against the lead at lap 23. Is that a bit of smoke or Darren was on the back of Darren Cowell's car there? It's just 52 car. Not the Darren Cowell car, it's the Steve Dolman shirt car.
Hi, Darren.
In the future. Oh, and here's that's an unhappy Carl Swift, I think.
Yeah,
I
Darren,
think he
what we're
felt
trying
that
to do is, can you
nose
put your
was
phone near
cut off him there
commentators?
by the number 48 car,
So I
Robert
can hear
Taylor
them
Mark
when they're
Jones
handing
Seat. The two Seats together on track. I think Carl Swift possibly doing a little bit of grief there, but just as well, he's got a big lead.
Does 23 laps now, and he's 50 odd seconds ahead of the second place car. We'll have to watch out to see if Moosdale's gap comes down much more to Rory Hind after we saw a couple of laps going. Meanwhile, across the line, 3rd and 4th in Class C, pretty close together now. Just exiting that corner, Adam Meelan's been re-caught by Matthew Tidmarsh in the Mazda. You see that on our screens. There's Lightstead just up ahead of them in 2nd, and then 3rd, 3rd and 4th. The BMW of Meeland, and then the Mazda of Tidmarsh, and not far behind them is Darren Kell in another of the MX-5s. There's the 2nd place car though, just lapping the Peugeot, and that's Philip Moosdale, who climbs up Deers Leap to complete 23 laps for him. It was about a minute ago that Cole Swift did that. The gap though to Rory Hind was 2.4 seconds. PB for Moosdale means the gap goes up to nearly 3 seconds.
Yeah, so hour and a quarter left to go in this race. Busy little bit of circuit heading down into Cascades that time. There's our leader in Class C as well. That's the 73 car of John Munro just going through. In 9th position overall. We're still being led by the Burgess NSX by about 35 seconds from the 2nd place car within that class. There's still a good battle between the boxers going on. This is one that's about to appear into shot, I think, so watch for this come down the hill. It's Gavin Johnson in the PDC, the white and blue Boxster, followed by the orange and white car of Michael Downing. Those two still rather close together, so they've been battling for quite some time, being in similar lap times in 2 minutes. Although Michael Downey's done a much better lap actually during the course of this race. He's done a 1:58.56 compared to Gavin Johnson's 1:59.34.
Yes, and I think Downey done that a lap or so ago and really closed that gap in from doing that better lap. Across the line, see their good battle continues for 5th between Gillespie and Will Ashmore. Just a few tenths of a second between them, 5th and 6th in different classes. Two cars that are in the same class, looks like they've changed around there. Up into 4th position in Class C goes Darren Kell. He's passed Matthew Tidmarsh on that lap, and they've got a lap, the car of Ivor Mares, it's not going quite so well here at Oulton Park. Up the inside of the BMW they go, but up into 4th in Class C then is the Mazda MX-5 in the hands of Darren Kell, going ahead of Matthew Tidmarsh. Both are single or solo driver entries, so they'll be doing the full 2 hours by themselves.
They will indeed. 46 minutes of the race now gone. Joe Taylor is still plugging away. What lap times is Joe Taylor doing now? 2:04, so he has found 4 seconds during the course of this race. Although that last lap was a 2:12. He's still plugging away, but he is 3 laps behind the leader. Possibly 3 laps behind the leader, Carl Swift.
He's 8th in class, I reckon. So actually, we'll be scoring a few extra points over Luke Zerzakowski, who's only 5 points ahead of him in the championship. However, we'll be able to count this as one of his drops, so perhaps we'll get a few points back. They're actually equal on drop scores, aren't they? So it's going to be a close contest between them heading to Snetterton, I would presume. And if the leader can finish where they do, Swift and Baker, they might be able to really bring themselves back into that Class A championship hunt.
Certainly possible with those 2 minutes left to go. There's the Colin Gillespie car, number 15. Just behind it is the Ashmore and Taylor. We're not sure who's aboard that car at the moment. There's a penalty for the 316 car, Ivor Mares, so that would be a track limits infringement, I would think, for Ivor. As across the line comes the number 16 Leon as well. That's the Paul Huxley version. So it was a Seat that won the race last year here. Guy Cochler winning in the... and now we've got a yellow flag because off has gone one of the Seats at Old Tor Corner.
It's the Rob Taylor and Mark Jones car. Rob Taylor started, it's taken out the tyre wall, hasn't it? On the approach to Old Hall. All the teams will see this, and what will they expect to have actually happening?
Well, what could we predict would happen in this case? Certainly going very slowly is the 26 car into that yellow flag zone, and that's sort of holding up behind it. The number 8 car, and
safety
now there's
car board, is that?
No safety car
that's
board
the penalty
yet.
board.
No
I think.
safety car board yet, but Rory Hind there was quite badly delayed by a back marker who went particularly slowly. Into the pits has come Joe Taylor. So what's Joe Taylor going to do? He is into the pit lane and he's driving out of the pit lane again. I'm not quite sure what to make of that.
Is that the Wallace car that's coming in, I think? Matthew Wallace.
Yeah, I think it is as well. But the race leading car is heading up towards Lodge Corner now, so this might not be the worst time to make a pit stop, you know, if you were in a preemptive mood. And indeed it is. The leading car is into the pit lane. So that is number 6. That's Carl Swift into the pits.
While the safety car is not out on track, it's not necessarily helping, although the safety car certainly is on standby. And Carl Swift does come in right underneath us, actually. Parks next to the Matt Wallace Seat. You also got Colin Gillespie coming in his Class B BMW. Marshall's on the scene there at Oulton, but still the safety car has not been deployed.
Yeah, the driver's out of the car, isn't he? Certainly. It's just that there has been quite a heavy derangement of not only the tyre barriers, but the wrecked cell barriers as well. You're not able to see this, but we can see it from our commentary box window. So I think we are going to see a few more cars come in. I think this is Darren Kell coming in now as well, is it?
Absolutely. The driver's not out, by the way, because he's up against the tyre, which is having to clamber
out the passenger door.
Driver okay, for sure, but it's just an awkward job the marshals have had to help Robert Taylor get out. But amazing,
yeah, right.
No safety car.
Right, let's go down to Jacob, news from the pits. Well, possibly, we're not quite able to hear from Jacob just yet. But yeah, still do have yellow flags down here at turn 1, at Oulton Corner.
Well, we've now removed double yellows, gone to single.
Well, that kind of suggests that we're not going to go safety car, doesn't it, if that's the case?
Can't imagine that car be left in. Now everybody is bundling in all of a sudden. So we've got 26, we've got 62, 91, 27, 51 and 10, I reckon, all into the pit lane. Hope you noted all those quickly.
Do that again.
So we've got 27, which is Will Beach, 51 is Luke Handley, and number 10 is the Lotus of
Oliver Crease.
Yes, and number 91 I've noticed there too, the Oliver Owen car. So they're some of our significant stoppers. 52 is in too, that's Steve Dolman.
Okay, noting all of this down, of course.
46 is in, that's the Taylor and Ashmore Compact. There were a few others in, but now we go. Safety car is now attempting to be deployed. Now I wonder if Cole Swift has just pitted a lap too early there, Ian, because a lot of that time wasn't
under the safety car.
Yeah, exactly.
The safety car still not out onto the circuit yet, because it's waiting to pick up whoever the leader's going to be, which should be the Peter Moulsdale BMW. That's
except for it probably coming to the pits.
Apart from it, well, it probably will now, because everyone now is coming into the pits.
Yeah, I see that Owen Fitzgerald down there waiting for his car, the car that Rory Hind is going to take over. See 79 Lightstead is in, as is 81 Tidmarsh, but staying out on track is 36 Mealand in that Class C battle we've watched. Simon Wallace aboard the side that Matt started is heading out onto the track. The safety car has gone out onto the track now, by the way. No longer on standby mode, but is in.
And Ivan Mayers is in.
A bit of confrontation, as Andrew Lightstead hasn't parked his car in a diagonal line like he's been asked to, so the officials have just had a chat about that, but now the pit stop goes ahead anyway.
He's not actually alone in having done that, but because it's not the longest of pit lanes, as Rory Hind now comes in number 8.
But there's nowhere to park.
Parking. Yeah, well, we saw this in the Roadsports race at Donington Park last week, didn't we? As well, where everyone pitted all in one go because of a safety car. That's the Charlie Campbell car in. The Class B leader is in as well. That is Christopher Nylan. And said that the Leggett car, the Graham Campbell car was in as well. The 133 car does at least find a place to pit. The 76 car, that's the Michael Downey car, that's in as well. I will tick him off on my list. So essentially I think most of the cars that haven't been in are probably ones that have retired already. That's Joe Taylor now coming in for his pit stop as well, I can see. So a lot of cars into the pit lane here.
Darren Kell tries to squeeze out, does. which will hopefully help some of the others.
And there you can see how busy it is in the pit lane at the moment, because there are a lot of cars in the pit lane. So lots of cars in the pit lane at the moment.
Don't know if the Millsdale and Kent car came in. Don't know if you've got that.
No, I haven't, which is quite significant, because I thought that was the one that might be in the lead.
But I'm saying I'm not sure if it has come into the pits.
Oh,
That's what my point is. I'm not sure if it's in there or not.
No, I don't think it was.
So that's what I was trying to make the point of, which is an interesting decision.
Yeah, maybe this time round, but how long is this safety car going to go on for? Probably a little bit longer yet, because the car's not moved. They'll need to rebuild the barriers as well.
And I reckon they've put a lap on Cole Swift, which is now Rob Baker, of course, which is interesting.
Yeah, definitely. You see the work the teams do to try and keep the driver cool. I'm not sure that fanning of the door will do an awful lot, but it's worth a go. So
now most of the 3-minute stops are being completed, aren't they?
We haven't
had the safety car back yet. So
it's a slow lap, isn't it, from the safety car, which is what we'd expect.
And that's what's helping everybody that pitted late.
It's just going through Druids now.
We'll check to see if Moosdale is still there, which we think he should be. Because we don't think he came into the pits with everybody else.
Yeah, now we're starting to see drivers getting back out into the race, and this is where everyone's got to be careful. He said, watching two cars get a little bit close together underneath the commentary box window. So some of these cars getting back out into the race. Now the danger is here. You're soon going to get a red light at the end of the pit lane, aren't you, when the safety car train comes through. So you want to get out if you can before that turns red. Imran Khan goes out, and he's still confronted by a green light.
More fuel going into the Hind and Fitzgerald cars. I don't think they've done their pit stop as quick as they could have done.
Safety car, the pit light is now red. So Matthew Tidmarsh is going to have to wait for the light to change. It's not a very long queue of cars that he's got to let through, fortunately.
150 in this time, the Moosdale and Kent team.
Okay, that is in now.
However, I reckon
From the lead.
If they can do this stop before the safety car comes back round, they could put the equivalent of a lap on Cole Swift and Rob Baker, who I think really did pit too early.
Just looking at Michael Downey's car in the pit lane, that's got some damage to the left-hand driver's, or the left-hand side of the car, hasn't it? Like it's scraped down something or someone, possibly. Although the mirror's intact on that side of the car, so not sure what was the cause of that. Maybe it's been like that all day. Just happened to notice it beneath us here.
And we've still got red lights at the end of the pit lane because the recovery is going on.
And there's more cars still to come through as well.
I say the recovery is going on into the pit lane entry as well of the Robert Taylor car.
So this sort of does affect those cars. Probably the most significant car there that it does affect is the Chris Nyland Honda NSX, as it now is. So that's the one that's really lost out there, the Class B leading car. Tyre
change on 150, Moosdale and Kent.
Okay.
Or one tyre at least. So is that a tyre issue? We can see this on the screen actually now as well, as Stephen Kent gets aboard. Now is it a flat or is it just a worn tyre? Quite possibly just a worn tyre, and the team can feel they can do this within the 3 minutes pit stop time. One car I don't think has pitted is the PDC racing car, Ian, of Gavin Johnson, that's stayed out there.
No, it is there.
So it's pitted a lap later than the rest, hasn't it? So it's moved up the screens, but because of a later stop. So perhaps the team just thinking doing something different because they were a bit further back on the field.
There's the 150 car, which is the one that was being worked on, trying to get the driver strapped in. Stephen Kent to get that car back out into the race. That car was leading into its pit stop. Jeff Steele Racing run car. Still the safety car stays out. We've got just over an hour of this race left to go, so we're pretty much at the halfway mark now. So the safety car was one that really came at an ideal time for the teams there, wasn't it?
Not an ideal time for the pit lane to think overcrowded.
No, but in terms of when they would have wanted to have made their stops, it would have been in the middle of the race. So it fell well for. So it does cause different issues of congestion and red lights at the end of the pit lane and so on and so forth, with the safety car being out. That's the one minus to making your pit stop under the safety car. Right, we can now go down to Jacob in the pits.
Okay, we are down here in the pits with John from TWP Racing. John, how's your race going?
Yeah, brilliantly so far. We've got the brakes working. We've had that since Silverstone, so now we really do have pace to fight in these races, and the first stint was fantastic. Got our first pole of the season, and it was just a case of trying to extend the gap out the front, but I think we got further ahead than we'd anticipated, so yeah, just hoping things stay as they are and Nick can take the car to the flag, so I'm happy with how things are going.
Was it the safety car that prompted your pit stop?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we kind of have a rule in the team that if the safety car comes out, we're both quite similarly paced as drivers, so we'll maximise the strategy if we can. So the fact that the safety car came out, that's just instantly a shout for us to come in. So who would have thought having brakes in our car would give you 2 seconds a lap, but it shows it's pretty important. So we're really happy as a team.
Brilliant. And you staying out of trouble out there?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I had no contact at all. There was a couple of incidents just in front of me to avoid. I had the Ginetta GT4 going across the chicane and stuff like that, but generally everyone was really clean, the racing was good, and I had a lot of clean air, so I can't really argue. I got a lot of good clean laps in and the pace was good, so yeah, it's happy days.
Brilliant. Thanks for talking to us, John. We're going to head further down the pits. Back to you, Ian and Josh. For now, we'll try and get a chat with our race leaders.
Yes, well, we'll see who that is in a moment, but we've got the race back underway. Green flags waving because the recovery has been done at Oulton corner, and when the safety car came in, one car that was stranded at the end of the pit lane with the red lights on, Josh, was that of Peter Mulsdale, and now Stephen Kent at the wheel of it, the 150 BMW.
And I think that's going to promote Cole Swift, but now Rob Baker back into the lead. But they haven't got a very big margin over the rest. It would seem the Class B car of what is now Chris Nylon, taken over from Adam Burgess in the NSX, will be second. We'll check that when they come to the end of the lap, when the timing screens start to make a bit more sense than perhaps they do at the moment.
Yeah.
But it would appear we've got about 7 cars on the lead lap, which is better than what it was actually before the safety cars.
It was.
So certainly Cole Swift and Rob Baker Area Motorsport team don't think that was the best pit strategy, but because Cole Swift had picked up so much of a gap, there he is. I think they're still in the lead, and if Rob Baker can continue the pace that Cole Swift had, they should be able to go away from the field.
And that is a reasonably consistent driver preparing that too as well, isn't it, Rob Baker and Carl Swift? So they come over the line. It is Rob Baker, first car to come through to complete 29 laps of this race. We've just had over an hour, so I'll give you a rundown on the positions in a minute when things have settled down after the stops. Second now, actually, is the Class B car. Chris Nylon in the Honda NSX, just 12 seconds behind the leader. We'll wait to see who is shown in third. It's the Will Ashmore and Matty Taylor BMW Compact number 46 in third. In fourth place, it's Owen Fitzgerald now in the BMW M3 number 8. And who's going to be fifth? Wait and see. That is the Mulsdale and Kent BMW, the 150 car. That's come through in fifth, and then it's the Dayburn and Trigg Ginetta, the invitation class car, is in sixth place, number 44. Seventh is number 16, the Paul Huxley, and now John Gardner, Seat. And then we think that's probably everyone on the lead lap, don't we? So eighth, number 15, Colin Gillespie. Ninth is the number 91 BMW of... Sorry, not the 91 BMW. Yes, I do mean the number 91 car. That is... I need to check who's driving that, because it's saying Bird, but it's Kirkland on the entrance, but it must have been a change to the programme, which we haven't picked up. We'll try and work out who that is. 10th is the 27 car, which is the William Beach and Chris Coomer Clio.
So therefore in Class B, Chris Nylon is basically a lap ahead of the rest. Oh, lots of smoky out Mazda on the screen.
That's Paul Sheridan now, isn't it, in the 52 car? I thought that was smoking earlier on as well, and that certainly is now.
Yes, whether this is when it's on high fuel, because of course the car's been refueled. Hopefully it's not laying anything on the circuit, because it's smoking pretty significantly. And heading off towards Lodge Corner. Paul Shear's not going slowly in it, so he's overtaking cars in this cloud of smoke and actually just passing Chris Coomer there for position, but it doesn't look healthy whatsoever. Across the line he goes. It's not slowing Paul Sheard at all. He actually moves up into ninth position.
Right, let's go down to the pit lane once again and let's see who Jacob Harris has got this time.
Down here in the pits, we've got currently 5th place Pete, tell us how it's going for you.
Yeah, good. The first stint was really good. I mean, everyone took off from that start going absolutely flat out. You know, there was a spin, we managed to get, I think we got into 4th place. And we just stayed on it. I think it's hot today, so the tyres are getting hot, the brakes are getting hot, and we just backed off a little bit. And the guys in 2nd and 3rd, I think, started struggling with tyres, and I saw some of them going off a bit. So we managed to get past them, and then just hold 2nd. And then really, in 2nd, it was a case of just keeping the tyres. The tyres are getting so hot, and just backing off, letting them cool down for a couple of laps, speed up again. I think we had an E36, a white one, coming up behind us in 3rd there for a while. I could see him coming, and then but we then sped up again just to keep the gap going, once the tyres had cooled down. But really, it's a 2-hour race. It's all about managing brakes, tyres, and keep going.
How does the heat affect you as a driver? Because obviously these cars don't have air conditioning. I wouldn't advise rolling down the window.
No, exactly. It's very hot in there, but you keep going. It's hot. We'll survive.
That's here. I hope you're enjoying your first time around here.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. It's such a great circuit. It's very technical. It's very challenging. It's difficult. It's not easy. You can make up a lot of time and you can lose a lot of time. But yeah, it's a fantastic circuit and a great championship as well. And our team, Jeff Steele Racing, they're constantly on the radio telling us where everybody is. Keep telling us what lap times to do. Keeping things under control. So yeah, we get the easy bit, just driving round.
Glad you're enjoying your first time here, and hopefully we'll see you again in future rounds.
Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks.
Back to you guys in the comments box.
Yes, thanks, Jacob. While we were here from you, we saw the 52 Paul Sherd car pulling off. It's looking a little bit less smoky than it was, Josh.
And the car that was 2nd in Class B, Colin Gillespie, came into the pits and went straight into the garage. So that's 2 drivers that were in the podium positions within Class B. So that means it's Adam Burgess there a lap ahead of the rest, with the Bird and Owen BMW for 2nd, the Clio and Chris Coomer just behind him.
Yeah, so we are watching the...
And then in 4th is Tidmarsh, then 5th is Adam Meatland, handed over to Sam McKee. So they've lost some time relatively to the cars around them. So yeah, Class A and C really have closed up. The Class B gap is the one that's really large, isn't it, with Adam Burgess ahead of the rest. But then I guess it is close to 2nd. 2nd is Bird, 3rd is Coomer, 4th is Downey. They're all separated by a couple of seconds. And Middleton, Handley, Hammond, Cunliffe, not that far behind. So for 2nd in Class B, it's very competitive.
Yeah.
Oh, and on the 2 wheels on the grass there for the NSX heading into Old Hall. I thought Chris Nye was going to have a moment there. He was trying to lap a Class A car, actually. And off the road, Matthew Tidmarsh, has he gone into the tyre wall there, I suspect? Or did he...
I think he might have avoided it, actually.
That's at Druids.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's going to continue, but having lost quite a bit of time. You talked about Chris Nye there, getting 2 wheels on the west. Of course, he's another local driver to Oulton Park. Based in Oulton, 32-year-old company director. He actually started his racing here at Oulton Park in the XR Challenge, the local Tin Top Championship, which actually raced at Mallory Park this weekend. So unsurprisingly, he lists Oulton Park as his favourite circuit.
Matthew Tidmarsh is coming to the pits after off at Druid, so that's somebody that was in the top 5 within Class C, so that drops him out. So C is Dougal from Cairn, Kell and Meelan, the top 4 now.
So Tidmarsh, by the looks of it, did make contact with the barriers.
So he came out quite a long way from the tyre wall, didn't he?
Yeah, he bounced off them clearly, but there's got damage to the front of his car. We can see that there in the pit lane beneath us.
Interestingly, I think Chris Nye in the Class B NSX is pulling away from the Class A cars behind him. He's 12 seconds ahead of the Ashmore and Taylor car, which in turn isn't really being caught by Owen Fitzgerald, interestingly. There is the NSX actually on our screens. So that is Chris Nye, who's racing a Civic, wasn't he, at Silverstone last time out in Class C, but he did race his car at Spa.
Yep, so he's raced the car before. So, and he's racing it. It's really good effect now, and he's putting it, the kind of very good overall position as well. It's not a car that's necessarily contending for the championship.
His line into Old Hall is a bit alarming from this angle.
But like I say, he's a local. He started his career here. He probably knows the circuit better than a lot of people racing here today. So, if it works for him...
Looks like Matthew Tidmarsh is going to get back out. It's that little strip of sort of tarmac that looks like they're running onto the grass. I think it's... Oh, there's a car off, though, isn't there, on the exit of Old Hall? Oh, is that the Seat they've just put there?
Yeah, that's the Seat that they left there, I think.
So that must look more out of the way than perhaps it did there from the box. A slightly quicker lap last time by the Ashmore and Taylor compact to start to close in on Chris Nylon. But it's a great run for them, isn't it? Will Ashmore and Matty Taylor. Their best result before now has been a fifth in class, but 11th overall. So this is a really nice run for that duo, just on their personal best lap actually, a 54.8, and now 10 seconds behind the NSX.
Yeah, so hour and 10 minutes gone of the race, 50 minutes left to go. Stephen Cunniff in the number 29 Honda Civic, he's now getting a track limits penalty as well. So too, the 719 car, which was started by Gavin Johnson and has now been taken over by Pip Hammond. So 2 drivers there about to be shown the penalty boards.
Not sure what the penalty is, whether that's pit stops. It's another opportunity at this point of the race.
It could be, yeah, another option there. There are penalties for, of course, track limits, but also for infringements in the pit stops, whether that's speeding the pit lane. You can see Gavin Johnson just walking up the pit lane. That one just been called to race control, maybe, to have a word there. But you can see Gavin heading away from our end of the pit lane to the racing control end.
Colin Glepsey's gone back out after that car had been in the garage for a while, but that's dropped it out of contention. Joe Taylor for the pits, is he? No.
No.
This is probably the most frustrating couple of hours ever on a race circuit for anybody, I think. It is quite the commitment to just score a few points.
Well, it's probably the equivalent of driving through that long 50-mile-an-hour zone on the M6 on the way up, isn't it? You know, a bit frustrated that you're not making slightly faster progress to your destination. No, so Joe Taylor, but still plugging away.
PB now from the NSX, a 153.9, which was quicker than the leader overall, and only 18 seconds away from it. So a fantastic drive this has been from Chris Nylon up to this point. 34 laps in the books. Not sure if you've got class lap records there, Ian, but I suspect that is one. But it's only a second away from what the Class A lap record was before now.
I don't think I do, actually.
I'm sure that would be the car.
Here we go. More pieces of paper over here. Lap records. So Class A was 152.91. Class B 155.48. Class C 2 minutes 0054.
So I think they've
all gone.
Yeah, they've all gone, and quite significantly, which shows you the improvement in pace within the Club Enduro Championship in 2019. So across the line, the leaders have gone. So Baker 18 seconds ahead of Nylon. Then Will Ashmore in third, Owen Fitzgerald fourth, starting to catch the compact down. And then in fifth is Stephen Kent, sixth is David Trigg, and seventh is the Seat there, number 16 of John Gardner, all on the lead lap, those cars. Battle for second in Class B is pretty good still, between Bird, Coomer and Downey, just a few seconds between those three, as it has been, I think, since the safety car came in. So that's one to watch too. And then Class C, the gap there, don't think it's coming down too significantly between Nick Dougal and Imran Khan. What, about 35 seconds there. Up across the line, this is the battle for now third place, absolutely together. A slower lap from the compact means that Rory Hind is behind.
And about a spin for David Trigg in the Ginetta down at, between Hislops and Knickerbrook. So that's the driver that was in sixth place on the road.
It's absolutely together now for what is second in Class A, third overall, between the Will Ashmore, Matty Taylor compact and the Rory Hind and Owen Fitzgerald BMW. They've headed off towards Cascades on this lap.
I think Joe Taylor's car's getting ever slower, isn't it? It's just come past us again now. It's a 2:28 that time.
There is Pip Hammond. He's chasing, looks like Luke Handley's Civic.
No, it's not. I think he's getting a black flag there to say come in and serve a pit stop penalty, but it hasn't done yet. Certainly there's a black flag being hung out by the marshals. Pretty close here between three cars.
This is a change there for third overall, because that's Owen Fitzgerald going through ahead of the compact, isn't it? So for third overall, second in class.
Ahead of the Ashmore and Taylor compact cup car. So at Britain's, you can see Fitzgerald now heading down towards Hislops. turning his way through the right, left, and then the right apex at Knickerbrook.
The Genetta's come into the pits, the car you saw off, Ian.
Yeah.
So that is now David Trigg, isn't it, at the wheel into the pit lane.
It is. It's interesting that Owen Fitzgerald making quite rapid progress away from the compact there as well, already pulling out a few car lengths from the red and black Army Motorsport car. The NSX comes over the line again and is only 2 tenths of a slower than the leader that time through, so 18 seconds is the gap between them. And Colin Gillespie back into the pits.
That's about a lap he did, wasn't it? Not much more. Still only 18 seconds between Baker and Nyland up front, so that's not really going out. But the question now is what Owen Fitzgerald can do. No quicker on that lap, but of course he had to make the pass. He's 17 seconds behind Nylon, and then that's 35 behind the leader, which is Rob Baker. Rob Baker certainly hasn't had the pace of Cole Swift, but whether that's because he hasn't needed to, he hasn't drove at the pace we saw from Swift early on.
You see Andrew Lightstead eating an apple as he's handed over his car to Imran Khan for the second half of the race. And that car is in 16th overall.
Had a change with second in Class B because the Bird and Owen car has been passed by both Chris Coomer and Michael Downey. So Chris Coomer in the Clio up into second place, the car that he shares with William Beach within that class. They're a lap behind Chris Nylon, but they're having a good run, the best run that Clio has had. It's had a 4th and a 5th in the 2 races it's done. William Beach has had multiple teammates actually, David Vincent, Adam Morgan and now Chris Coomer, but they're on for their best result they've had. If they could stay there ahead of Michael Downey, it was just a couple of attempts between them actually, so Michael Downey right on the tail of Chris Coomer, so that's a good battle to look out for. There's a car for the pits, that's Luke Handley Civic.
Is it, or is it Stephen Cunliffe?
Might well be.
Who has a penalty to serve, I think, so it could well be. Yeah, he's into the penalty box. I think on your screens it's still saying it's Thomas Kirkland in the number 91 car, by the way. We don't think it is, we think it's a driver called Bird. Sadly, we've not got his first name. So he, or indeed she, is at the wheel at the moment. So they've obviously had a change of personnel, which was relatively late.
There's the NSX leading Class B, which is Chris Nylon. Took over from Alan Burgess, not really fallen away from the overall leader, which is Cole Swift, and Rob Baker now at the wheel.
Indeed, I don't know if we're planning to go down to hear from Jacob, so let's see if we can go down to Jacob in the pit lane and hear what's going on down there.
Well, we're here.
Nope, not able to go down to him just yet, but we have...
Down here in the pits, we've got race leader Carl Swift from Area Motorsport. Carl, how's the race going?
It's going good. We had a bigger lead and we pitted because we knew the safety car was coming out, but I think lost about half a lap at full pace, so a couple of cars have closed up and the gap's down to 18 seconds, but hopefully we can manage that.
And how's the new car working out for you?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, we like the Civic and it's all drama and it's great to drive, but we've been driving it 120% and been there or thereabouts, but that's been causing reliability issues, so we've pulled the TCR cover off and brought that out.
And as a team, how well's it going in general? You've got a couple of cars out there, haven't you?
Yeah, it's going really well, so we just had to stack 4 pit stops at once, which was fun, and they all went smoothly, bang on time and all straight back out.
Secret to making it work like clockwork?
Preparation and good lads, good mechanics.
That's it. Cheers for the interview. Back to you guys in the comms box.
Yep, so we've got the 191 car into the pit lane as well now, but what have you spotted, Josh?
Well, as I was saying, Chris Coomer was going really well up to second in Class B. Well, he's lost that position immediately. Michael Downey in the Porsche going up into second, so he's going really well too. We saw him go well at Croft, didn't we, Michael Downey? He got a 3rd there. He's had a 6th and a 12th in the other races, so this is Michael Downey's best performance in 2nd place.
The 46 car, that's the 4th place car, the Ashmore and Taylor car, that's also now going to have to serve a penalty, we think, for a pit stop infringement. So that could be for speeding in the pit lane or for not stopping for a sufficient amount of time at the pit stop, possibly.
Of course, that was a car that had moved up through the order rather better than anybody else. Real shame for the Army Motorsport team. Of course, we saw Matty Taylor on the podium just last weekend at Donington Park. But podium here is starting to look unlikely, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's got that podium to serve, penalty to serve, though the podium is looking a long way away. So there's that 91 Bird car.
Just ahead is Kuma, but Michael Downey's getting away from them all after making that pass. So Downey is second in the Porsche, then the Clio and the BMW.
Yeah, he's lapping just under 2 minutes. Everyone else is lapping quite a long way over 2 minutes now.
Now behind, Pip Hammond is going quicker than all of them, isn't he? But a bit further back, and actually battling with a TWP racing Mazda, is Pip Hammond.
Yeah.
And so therefore he should be there. He is ahead now, isn't he? So Pip Hammond's got ahead of Nick Dougal.
Yes, he has.
And so he's only 20 seconds behind that bad of a second. We had the report that he should be getting a penalty, whether that's been rescinded.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that car come in for that.
No, certainly not. But a podium, if that penalty had disappeared, perhaps they've argued it and found to be correct, they're chasing the car on the screen, which is only 20 or 15 seconds up the road, and Pip Hammond going significantly quicker.
Right, Imran Khan has just come through in the car that's second in Class C, and he's not getting any closer, is he, to Nick Dougal in the lead of Class C. The gap between about 36 seconds. It's been around about 30, 35 seconds for quite a few laps. So it looks like a class win might not be on today for Lightstead and Khan, but I guess with Steve... what am I trying to say? Steve Cheatham, that's the man whose name I was trying to find, not having success in his class today, then it could be worse with still 2 meetings to go this season.
And of course, within the Class C Championship, they're ahead of Darren Kell, who's their closest rivals, although behind John Munro and Nick Dougal, but they're a bit further back. So, because I guess really their aim is the Class C Championship, because they can't do much about the overall on merit, so they've got to do what they can do. And second in class is a good effort. There's still a decent amount of time left, isn't there? With 40 minutes on the clock. There's the 4th place car in Class B, the Bird and Owen machine. That lap, it was a slower lap from Downey, so Kuma can get back towards him. So second place in Class B, the podium positions in Class B absolutely still on, and is Pip Hammond still catching them all? He is. He's, 2 seconds or 1.5 seconds quicker than most of them in front. He's only 12 seconds behind this Andrew Bird car. If I give him a first name, it might not be right. The Bird and Owen car that makes its way on the screens. Pip Hammond, his pace, and if he can consistently lap at that pace, the podium could be on, but he has got Luke Handley in the Civic chasing after him. So there's a couple of cars there, Ian, catching all the podium cars.
Yeah, so that could liven things up, that's for sure. As we're watching on screen, there's the Kuba car going through, followed by the Bird number 91. Very nicely turned out BMW, that one as well, I must say. 40 minutes of the race, just under left to go. There's our Class B second place car, number 76, Michael Downey, in his second season of racing then. And just a small elastic gap between second and third within that class at the moment. Car into the pit is the Taylor and Ashmore car, that's the one that's serving its pit stop penalty.
So that moves Stephen Kent onto the Class A podium, doesn't it, in the M3. So that moved it through. It's Colin Gillespie's car coming back out the garage by the looks of it, and it's a decent size penalty for the Army Motorsport car. And you kind of suggest that this is the PDC racing car, the penalty has disappeared on that one, because it would be getting a black flag, wouldn't it, after this amount of time?
Yeah.
The car we see on the screen at the moment, actually, now Pip Hammond, so hopefully for them that they haven't got a penalty to serve, and they can chase after those other Class B cars. But he should have Luke Handley, yes he does, not that far behind. So these are two cars that are quicker than the cars they're chasing in what is 5th and 6th in class, but chasing the podium position cars up across the line. Pip Hammond, he was 12 seconds behind. He's still actually 12 seconds, so he didn't gain so much on that lap.
Okay, I think possibly we can head back down to the pit lane once again, can we, to hear some more from Jacob Harris. Wait to see if we can hear from Jacob. We can hear he's ready to come in and talk to us, but we're not quite hearing from him just yet. So, meanwhile,
we're down here with Gavin from PDC Racing. Gavin, how's your race going? I understand you're about 4th in class.
Yeah, I think we're up to 4th in class now. It was an interesting start. There was a big crash, I think, on turn 1 that we had to try and get through. I got a bit bogged down in my stint, but we pitted on the safety car. I think we're in a good place in 4th, yep.
And, well, 11th overall. Do you reckon you can push your way into the top 10?
I think so. There's usually a bit of attrition late on in these races. We've got Pip slightly quicker than me round Oulton Park, so he's gaining all the time. So I think we're quite confident, yeah, and hopeful for a podium today. We'll see.
All right, then tell us a bit about the car you got. I understand it's a Porsche, right?
It is, yeah. We're racing a Porsche Boxster S. It's pretty much standard, to be honest. We didn't want to develop the car too much mid-season with a view to what we're going to do next year. So it's a standard Boxster S really for the road, new suspension. Got some MRF tyres on it this weekend, and it's going okay. We're a bit down on power, but it's going okay.
Can you share with us those plans for next year, or is it all top secret?
We're not 100% sure yet. I think we may go sprint. We may run a car in Enduro. We're not too sure yet.
All right, then. Well, all the best for whatever you do, and hopefully you can pick up a few places in this race.
Thanks for your time. Cheers. Thank you.
Nice one. Ian, Josh, back to you guys.
on our screens we'd got Joe Taylor with his hand in the air. Whether it was just indicating to another driver it was okay to come past, I'm not quite sure, but or if I think he's just waving drivers past him now, isn't he? I don't think he's intending to come in. I think he is still circulating. Or is he going to come in? Because he's really, really, really slow this time. I think there is a bit of trim off the front of the leading car. I know you were not sure that was the case earlier on, but there's a bit of trim off the Norse's car. Yeah, Joe Taylor is continuing, by the way.
On that latest lap, Pip Hammond brought a couple of seconds back towards the Bird and Owen car, so he's certainly getting closer. So by the end of the race, he should get there. They are fifth in Class B, with Alan Burgess and Chris Nyland's NSX a lap ahead of the rest. But very competitive behind between Downey, Kuma, Bird, Hammond and Handley. And Pip Hammond is keeping Luke Handley at bay, which is good for him. And across the line there's Ivor Mayers, who's handed over to Phil Dryburgh, the ex-British GT driver, who ended his British GT career in a massive accident at Brands Hatch when he rolled halfway down the straight towards Hawthorns, and so I think that ended his Aston Martin ambitions.
Yeah.
Good to see him back out there in endurance racing in Ivor Mayers' BMW.
Of course, the 300th British GT race being celebrated this weekend at Donington Park, but this is where it's at today, here at Oulton Park. And it's Phil Dryburgh and Charlie Campbell in the Peugeot RCZ having a little bit of a scrap there. Blue flags are waving as well, because I think there are some quicker cars trying to make their way through. The Ginettas just behind them, and so too is Imran Khan, I think.
Yeah.
Behind those cars.
Now in Class C, Nick Dougal is 13th on the road and Imran Khan is 14th. So they are together on the screens for the first time. It's still at 35 seconds, and it has been for a long time between them. So the real difference was made in that first stint by by John Monroe's pace over Andrew Lightstead.
Interesting though, Imran Khan had just done that car's best lap of the race, 2:01.94, so going faster than Andrew Lightstead did in the first phase. So that's interesting for one of the cars that's in contention for the overall championship this season.
He's just coming out to Knickerbrook as the class leader comes across the line, so that's what the gap is sort of on the circuit. Battle for the overall lead. Is that big moment there on the screens? As 150, Stephen Kent was locked up over the grass, but he saved it. So my point I was about to make was that Chris Nyland's got the lead gap to Rob Baker down to 16 seconds. So it's certainly not going up, but he is being caught by Owen Fitzgerald, which come down, well, not on that last lap, but it has come down to 15 seconds. So that means Fitzgerald is catching Baker, but you kind of wonder if Baker needs to bring out more pace. He should be able to do that.
Yeah, Joe Taylor waving cars past him. He'll have an aching right arm by the end of this race, with the way he's waving all the cars through. And he is a long way off the pace, probably 45 seconds off the pace that he would have been in if the car was running well. So pretty much 50% slower than it normally would be, that car, unfortunately. But he is driving around for points, so that shows that he is interested in trying to get something out of this year's championship. And obviously with Sajakowski and Whitmore being early retirements, he will take the, well, I don't think he'll take the class championship lead, but he'll narrow the gap to Tegiwa and Whitmore here. I think he's got to be watched out for is that he completes enough laps to be classified.
I think it's only need 50%, isn't it?
Yeah,
because you
so
do
he
see
should do
people
that.
get classified who sort of finish a long way behind, so they should be okay. Interesting battle just going across the line, and that's a change because Will Ashmore and Matty Taylor have gone ahead of the Sayat of Paul Huxley and John Gardner. And of course that number 16 Sayat is a car. I think now we've got it all in Class A championship contention.
Well, yes, because it's the one out there today that's going to score best of the sort of top 4, indeed top 5, top 6 in the championship in Class A, because Tegiwa and Whitmore are DNF, Taylor struggling, Mick and Chris Brown not here, the 74 Porsche not here, Richard Bacon not here, so it's actually faring best of all of the Class A championship contenders here this weekend.
Yeah, we're just losing that fourth position to the BMW Compact, but still in the top 5. It hasn't been massively successful on results, but successful over the course of the season. The best result for it in class was a 4th at the first round of Donington, and had a 10th, a 9th, a 6th and a 6th, but consistently scoring the points, which within Class A in 2019 is something that is important to a good result.
The invitation class Gillette just dropping down through Dentons towards Cascades.
That's a car that's had, I think, 3 stops, isn't it? It's had a couple of stops, I think, for grass removal, and they're running in 7th position at the moment.
Yeah, it's had some spins as well. And talking of which,
The NSX.
the NSX is off, and also the 191 Philip Nagel BMW 325 Ti has stopped. And
Big damage on that car,
he's
I
had
think.
quite a lot of damage to the front of that car. He clipped the NSX, we're hearing. That's going to need a suspended tow. The marshal is signalling there. You can see in the background, you can see the 750 Motor Club rescue crew also on the scene there as well. So that's at the exit of Britain Chicane. That car clipping the Class B leading NSX.
Slow, is it slow, the NSX? Well, the rear corner looks damaged to the rear corner. So, of course, it's the car that's leading its class by a lap, which really would bring the Class B battle open.
Yeah, look, damage to the tyre. It's flat. It's a flat tyre on that car now. So, and the wheel, well, it's got quite a lot of camber on it anyway, so hard to tell if there's some damage to that. But that car's surely going to be pit lane bound.
Can it get? It's got a couple of minutes to fix the car before Downey, Kuma, Bird, Hammond, and Handley all come through. So it could be a 5-car battle for Class B at the end.
And of course, that was trying to avoid the crabbing Steve Cheetham car. And now it's crabbing itself into the pit lane. Not quite as severely though as Cheetham was, I must say, earlier on.
So this is the TI Motorsport team. They're ready with a new tyre, so they are prepared. And of course, it was Chris Nyland at Silverstone, wasn't it? Who didn't know he had a problem in that Civic, and they couldn't work out what the problem was. But the team look like they're doing the same reactions as they did to Luke Tegiwa. So I don't think we'll see that car go back out. They reckon there's more. Yeah, the camber's not right on that.
Yeah, I didn't think it was. So that looks like it's going to be out of the race. So from the Class B lead, well, nobody wants to win Class B today. Off has gone Charlie Campbell
From
at
Class B.
Druids. Another Class B driver, but not in the lead of it.
Looks like he's going to get going.
Meanwhile, as you can see just behind the Nyland car there, he has got going. He's now reversed into the gravel trap. But not too deep, I don't think. The 93 car, I'm trying to get it out, is Jeff Gurrier. Just in the background there, you can see he's also in the pit lane. So that's a
Safety car.
Safety car coming out. And that, I suspect, is because the 191 Philip Nagel car that's stranded out there at Britain's.
There's significant damage on that front right corner,
It
isn't
was
there?
a
I
hefty
reckon?
clip then, by the looks of it. As evidenced by the degree of damage on the Nyland car.
This will bring Owen Fitzgerald right back to Rob Baker. I know there's going to be cars between them, but I suspect that's going to be pretty significant. Also, even more, no, not as much. The Class B cars haven't quite been separated. I thought they were going to be, but Rob Baker just lapped Michael Downey, so that's going to bring the Class B cars right together. If Downey was in front of Baker, he would have got out in front of the safety car, and he would have basically had a lap on the field.
Yeah.
So that means they're all going to be together. So we're going to have Downey, Kuma, Bird, Hammond and Handley, 5 cars in Class B all battling together. That's going to be really interesting to watch.
Let's have a quick rundown on the order then. So it's going to be 6. Is the Nyland car's going back out into the race?
So is it still leading the class? It is.
Yeah. Well, let's give it a lap before we give you a rundown on the order, because it could change again. Well, that's not right. That is not right. You can see on your screen that the left rear wheel, the camber on that was more than it should be, so I suspect that might not be much longer. It's probably worth getting it out just to see what it'd be like, especially as it's behind the safety car, so there's not too much to lose there, I guess. But I think that will need to come back in. So we've got 25 minutes or so of this race left to go. Still Rob Baker leading the way in the Seat from Owen Fitzgerald in the BMW, and then it's Stephen Kent in another BMW in 3rd place. But there you can see the Nyland car just tucked in behind Darren Cowell's green Mazda MX-5. So 2nd safety car intervention in the Tegiwa Club Enduro Championship race. Steve Hewson at the wheel of the safety car, part of last year's championship winning team, of course, in Club Enduro, when he shared with Matt Nosser to go to the Club Enduro Championship title.
Steve Hewson had a good run out in his 106 last weekend at Donington, didn't he? Included a massive off into the chicane on oil when the car went hard right, but he saved it pretty well and actually didn't lose too much time in the meantime. But yes, had a good result in his 106, returning to on-track competition. There is the damaged NSX. Now, is Chris Nyland going to try and put up with it for the rest of the race, or will he be for the pit? We've got 25 minutes to go. The recovery's got to be done, so that's going to be another lap or so at least. And it's all eyes are going to be on the Class B battle, that's for sure, isn't it? With those 5 cars all in contention. And really, the quickest ones are at the back of that 5, the 5 of them, the Pip Hammond and the Luke Handley duo.
How many cars do we reckon are between Imran Khan and Nick Dougal?
Yeah, that's the other thing, isn't it?
Because those are the 2 Class C leaders. Nick Dougal ahead. I mean, there was 40 seconds between them when the safety car went out. But that will come down, clearly. But it's a question of how many cars there are between them on track.
Pip Hammond was saying to me earlier that he likes to get his elbows out sprint style, and I think he's going to have the absolute opportunity to do that, isn't he? With hardly any cars between... There's just 1 car amongst those 5 Class B cars.
Yeah.
You've got Rob Baker, the overall leader, ahead of them all, and then you've got amongst them the MR2 Martin Buckland. But otherwise, all those 5 Class B cars are together. There's not that many cars between Baker and Owen Fitzgerald in Class A either. There's the Mazda of Dougal. How many? Again, you've only got about half a dozen cars between him and Imran Khan. So there's certainly interest when this restart occurs. It's going to be about a 20-minute race, isn't it?
Yeah.
When we get going. You also got Stephen Kent. See what sort of pace he can do in Class A too. So you've got Baker, Fitzgerald and Kent in Class A battling out. Class B is still led by Chris Nylon. By almost a lap. So if he could carry on about 5 seconds a lap off the pace or so.
Yeah.
I guess they wish they didn't come into the pits because they would have had 2 laps on the field at that point. But that's how it is.
Let's run down the order then. 6, Rob Baker leads. 8, Owen Fitzgerald is 2nd. 150, Stephen Kent is 3rd. 46, Will Ashmore, Matty Taylor 4th. 5th is the 16 car of John Gardner, I think it is, for the second half of the race in the Seat. 6th then is the Class B leading Honda NSX of Chris Nyland. 7th is the invitation class car David Trigg, the Janetta. 8th is number 76 Michael Downey. 9th is the 27 car Chris Coomer, the Clio. 10th is the number 91 Bird BMW. 11th is the 719 Hammond Porsche Boxster. 12th is the 51 Luke Handley Civic. 13th is the Class C leading number 73 Nick Dougal MX-5. 14th is number 79, that's Imran Khan's BMW. 15th is number 55, Simon Wallace now in the Seat. 16th is number 10, the Lotus of Simon Middleton. 17th, number 68 is Darren Kell. 18th is number 36, Sam McKee. 19th is number 19, which, excuse me, is Martin Buckland. Running out the top 20 is number 4, Charlie Campbell.
So you've also got that battle of 3rd in Class C to look out for as well in this restart. Darren Kell versus Sam McKee, only a few cars in between them. So multiple battles to watch in what's been, I guess, especially the second part's been a pretty confusing club enduro race, hasn't it? With the safety car in the middle mixing things up, and so much attrition throughout the field. There's the NSX, still damaged. But we're going to have about 10 laps to go, aren't we?
Yes.
And a lap's about 2 minutes. So it can afford to be about 10 seconds off the pace, Chris Nyland, can't he? And still win Class B.
We talk about a lot of attrition, but actually I reckon there's only 6 cars that are not still running.
I guess
Down
it's
here
been,
with Matt Taylor from Army Motorsport. Matt, currently running in 4th place.
Yeah, currently in 4th. Chuff to Muck. I did the first stint, did just under an hour, and I think we were in 5th place straight after. Got up to 3rd. We were holding 3rd, I believe, but we have had a stop and go penalty. We're not quite sure what for yet, so we're going to have to wait till the end and check a bit of cameras, see if we can get some time back.
Obviously, we're under safety car conditions at the minute. Are you confident on the restart?
I am confident. Will's a better driver than me. He's extremely quick, very calm and cool. So I'm pretty confident he's just going to do a gleaming few laps now. Who knows, even make an overtake would be quite nice.
I was going to say, can you get on the podium? There he is, he's going past now. Podium not necessarily out of the question.
Podium's definitely not out of the question. I'm in an old 20-year-old compact, as we say, that I've built myself against these rather expensive cars. So if we can get a podium, it'll be absolutely amazing.
And tell us a little bit about your team quickly. I've noticed you're all in matching uniforms, shall we say?
Yeah, so we race for the British Army. We're members of the British Army. We've got a few different race series we race in. The Armed Forces Race Challenge, which is Army, Navy, RAF. And then we've got one car. We've just come up to this endurance racing, trying to move on. It's good. We're growing. The Army kind of lets us do it. They help out a little bit financially. So that's our excuse for staying in the Army anyway.
It's great to hear. I hope you have a fantastic rest of the race, and obviously, thank you very much for your service.
No, thank you. It's been great. Hopefully, we're going to get on the podium. Let's go.
Cheers, Matt. Ian, Josh, back up to you.
Yeah, with 19 minutes of the race left to go. Safety car is still out there for the moment. It's just making its way down to actually where the car's being recovered from. Britain's, the 191 car of Philip Nagel that was involved in that incident with the Class B leading Chris Nyland. It was Chris Nyland Honda NSX. You can see the cars. There is the NSX actually that we were talking about just coming through. We're now got a warning for 81 Matthew Tidmarsh and also for Luke Handley, number 51. Now, it did strike me that some of the earlier penalties that we had might have been related to safety car infringements rather than anything else. It could well have been, judging from what they were, because they did happen around about the time or shortly after the time the safety car was out. We've not been given official notification of that. I'm not sure that car's handling well. It's not too bad at this speed, but I think get that up to race speed, that's going to be an absolute nightmare to drive the NSX.
it doesn't need to run at anywhere near top pace, does it? So I think it's worth trying.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing, obviously, if it ends up in the wall, that's probably perhaps it's not worth that sacrifice. But
yes.
if Chris Nyland can keep it under control, he's obviously happy to do so, otherwise he wouldn't still be out there. I think the safety car should be in this lap.
Yeah, it looks like, well, the safety car has sped up because it's completely disappeared. So that's going to head into the pit lane. We're going to get the race back underway with about 17 minutes of the race left to go, so probably we'll get 9 laps out of this. I would think maybe 10. Green flag waves and the race back underway, Josh.
Yes, and it's that battle behind the car that leads the race. Rob Baker for second in Class B, and immediately Pip Hammond goes up the inside and gets what is 4th place in Class B. Luke Handley tries to follow him, can't do it. That's on the burden. Oh, in BMW, Luke Handley still trying to get alongside it up towards Cascades, and I think he will get there eventually. So losing 2 places there did Bird, behind both Hammond and behind Handley. So Pip Hammond up to 4th position in Class B now, and chasing after Chris Coomer just up the road in the Renault Clio. So we thought that would be a battle to watch out for, Ian, and immediately it occurred.
Yeah, absolutely right. No surprise though, Pip Hammond, quite an experienced racer now, and as you said, likes to get stuck in. So leaders of the field now down at the Shell Oil's corner once again with 16 minutes to go. And a big moment and a spin there for the 150 car of Stephen Kent. Not quite sure how that happened really, because it's difficult to see from our angle, but whether he just clipped the inside of the apex there, and that got the car briefly airborne, didn't it, Josh, by the looks of it?
Absolutely. So that will promote the battle between the Seat of John Gardner and the BMW of Will Ashmore into a podium battle. So that's going to be one to watch out for. We heard from Matty Taylor saying he'd like to get that car onto the podium, and that's not going to harm their opportunity. And big damage, isn't there, to the BMW?
Front and rear as well.
So quite what he hit down there at the inside of the...
I'm not sure. It's done quite a lot of damage there. It looks like something underneath the front of the car. Yeah, that has hit something quite hard. Not quite sure what.
No, that's strange. And a penalty now for the William Beach and Chris Coomer podium-placed Class B car, according to the notification on our screen. That battle still being led by Michael Downey, then Chris Coomer, then Pip Hammond, then Luke Handley as they come up across the line. And for the overall lead, Owen Fitzgerald hasn't lost too much in the traffic. He's 10 seconds behind Rob Baker, so that's a gap just to keep an eye on. And Pip Hammond, you can tell he's in a racy mood. He's just on the personal best lap of the race of that car, 1:59.1, as he chases the Clio of Chris Coomer up towards Cascades. What's happening in Class C? There's a change. Imran Khan's through because Nick Dougal hasn't returned in the Mazda.
No, he's not. The Mazda has not come back through. I've just seen Imran Khan's go past. I think the Mazda's just coming through now up Deer Leap. Is it coming up? But no, Imran Khan's got a penalty. But Nick Dougal is into the pit lane, presumably with a car-related problem. I can see the team, the TWP team, waiting for Nick Dougal's Mazda now. I can hear that Jacob's down there as well, so Jacob, whenever you're ready to come in, please do.
Meanwhile, Pip Hammond's right on the tail of Chris Coomer now for what is third place in Class B. He was over a second behind at the beginning of the lap. The NSXE, and he's only lapping a couple of seconds slower than these cars, so Chris Nyland does look good for a Class B win still.
And it looks like the Dougal car has gone straight into the pit garages, so that looks like that Mazda's out of the race.
This hasn't been a confusing race at all, has it?
Yellow flag's now waving at Hilltop as well.
I'm down here with John from Canet Racing. John, tell us a little bit about your team name.
All right, well, our team name, well, one of us is Canadian, which is me. I was born there, and my teammate is Italian, so hence you've got the old Can-Am in America. We are Canet, so, can it or can it, can we do it? But that was really how it was derived.
And I've heard you nearly did Canet earlier on.
Canet on the around Cascades, yeah, I thought I'd take advantage of everyone else's cold tyres, neglecting to realise that mine, in fact, were cold too. And yeah, I binned it, went off the track, and obviously started out dead last. So just one of those things, isn't it?
Have you managed to recover them?
I think so. My buddy's better than me, so he's got us up, I think, to somewhere in the region of 23rd overall, and about 8th in class. But so that's kind of where we're expecting. It's only our second outing ever in Club Enduro, so we're just trying to get the signatures.
Second ever, will there be a third?
I think there will be a third, as long as we can keep the car together and we don't crash again. I think we'll be there. Definitely, it's absolutely great fun. Love it.
Glad to hear it. Thanks for talking to us, John. And I've also got Adam here, who's a little bit preoccupied talking to David. But Adam, we spoke to your teammate earlier. How's you getting on out there?
Seems to be going pretty good, yeah. The car was absolutely fine when I got out, and it seems from his signals that there's nothing else untoward at the moment. So yeah, it seems to be going strong, pretty consistent. I think I might have seen the class leader just park it in the pit lane, so we may have just got onto the podium for now, but we'll wait and check with the timings to double confirm that. But yeah, a good day considering where we were yesterday.
Brilliant, thanks for chatting with us. Ian, Josh, class leader in the pit lane apparently.
Yeah, so Adam Mealand we're hearing from there with Jacob, and yes, the Nick Dougal car was into the pit lane, it was into the garages as well, so that will drop down the order. So Class C now has Imran Khan leading it, number 79, from in second place, number 68, Darren Cowell, and third now, number 36, Sam McKee. So that is the way of that, subject to confirmation, but we did see notification of a penalty for Imran Khan, we thought. Meanwhile, what's been going on in Class B, Josh?
Oh, we saw Michael Downey. He went off the road at Lodge Corner, and while that was happening, Pip Hammond got past Chris Coomer. So it's still the NSX that leads there. That's Chris Nylon, but Pip Hammond up to second now. Chris Coomer third, fourth Luke County, and Michael Downey's off, drops him down into fifth position. Overall leaders across the line. The gap's still 10 seconds between Rob Baker and Owen Fitzgerald, but on your screens is the third place battle between John Gardner and Will Ashmore. There's not much between them. There's a set at the front of the screen and being chased by the BMW Compact with still 11 minutes of the race to go. Here's the battle for side by side, isn't it? Sam McKee's going up the inside of Darren Kell. This is for second in Class C. And they are still going to be side by side on the exit of the corner. And it's Sam McKee's going to have the inside line here, Ian, on the run up towards Old Hall.
Yeah, absolutely right. As they come in, and that's Imran Khan coming in from the pit stop. So that means that Sam McKee
another lap behind.
Is a lap behind. But depending on how long this penalty is that Imran Khan has got to serve, that could have been Sam McKee effectively taking the Class C lead. So Sam McKee has done that now. It's only a short stop-and-go penalty effectively for Imran Khan, so he'll keep the lead. So if I refer to my list of penalties, I'll try and work out what that was for.
And Andrew Lightstead desperately trying to let his teammate know they are leading the class and no need to overdrive in these last few minutes. So up to second in Class C has come Sam McKee, ahead of Darren Kell. And he's starting to pull away immediately, so Sam McKee on good pace there.
I can't work out what that penalty's for, but never mind.
Well, you wondered about safety cars, didn't you? And that was...
Yeah, but that would be at least a 30-second stop and go, which that wasn't. So.
OK. Sam McKee still trying to get past this Toyota, trying to put a lap on it, so that's going to hold him up and bring Darren Kell back towards the BMW. So this is for second and third in Class C. Sam McKee in the BMW. It's Darren Kell in the Mazda. And this Class B Toyota they're trying to lap isn't being particularly helpful, and Darren Kell tries to come up the inside, can't get there. Meanwhile, the gap for the overall lead's coming right down because Owen Fitzgerald, just doing a personal best lap, is down to 7 seconds behind Rob Baker. So really strong pace there from Owen Fitzgerald on the latest lap.
Yeah, 7.2 seconds between them. It was a much slower lap for Rob Baker, then a 1:54.04. So across the line goes Pip Hammond in Class B. We've got a desperate pit signal being given, I think, to Luke Handley there.
Who's trying to get past Chris Coomer for third in Class C. Couldn't quite get there. And of course, they're team cars too, the two-area motorsport machines.
Here is this battle for Class C second place, and up the inside goes Darren Kell, and he retakes second place in Class C away from Sam McKee, but a big moment, and Sam McKee will get back alongside him now as they come up and over the line to complete another lap. The door handlers, they come up to us this time. They're 3 wide with the 91 BMW as well, and it's just about Darren Kell that holds on to that, but this is sprint race stuff, Josh.
He's gone off, Darren Kell's gone off across the grass, and Sam McKee has to go on the grass on the inside to avoid him. He's bouncing across the grass, but he goes back through. Absolutely extraordinary race. And Darren Kell still having a moment when he gets to Cascade. Martin Buckland let these two through, and then they almost crash in front of him. They just avoid it. Absolutely crazy race this has turned into, Ian.
Yeah, so also involved there was the 91 Bird BMW as well, which indicates that's slowing down, and it was 8 seconds off its best lap that time through. So I think that 91 BMW has possibly got problems.
Absolutely, and that's allowed Michael Downey back into fourth, even though he's actually been having slow laps recently too. So Downey, that's fifth for him now in Class B, isn't it? The battle, though, in Class C continues up towards the Britain chicane because Darren Kell and Sam McKee, where's Sam McKee? He's pulling away, isn't he, in fact? So McKee pulling away from Darren Kell. They're just being lapped by Will Ashmore, who had fallen away, by the way, from John Gardner's Sayat for third. So Gardner pulling away from Ashmore. Has he got an issue in the compact? Just a bit of a lock-up into the chicane there at Hislops.
Well, about 7.5 or 7.25 minutes to go now. It's still Rob Baker now leading, 8.5 seconds ahead. So it has gone out a little bit on the last lap to Owen Fitzgerald in second place. And Class B in third position, Class B leader, I should say, is still Chris Nylan, effective with most of a lap on Pip Hammond.
Personal best on that last lap from John Gardner, so he's picking his pace up to try and get this podium in the Sayat. He is in a podium position at the moment. So it's Baker, Fitzgerald, Gardner Ashmore, the 4 Class A cars at the front. Class B is Chris Nylon, who's not really lapping any slower than the other cars despite the damage, and Hammond, Kuma, Handley, Downey and Bird. And Bird's going to lose a place with his pace, isn't he, to Stuart Middleton in the Lotus that he's chasing it. Simon Middleton, Lotus is pretty much with the BMW now. On the screen there, you've got Darren Kell trying to get back past his Toyota, which he does, so puts a lap on that on the exit of Cascades, and try and go back after the second place car within the class, which is Sam McKee, but McKee now 3 seconds ahead.
Yes, McKee just disappearing out of shot there. Field making their way around the Shell Oils corner at the far extremities of this 2.7 mile Oulton Park International Circuit. You can see the Martin Buckland Forza Motorsport liveried MR2. 5.5 minutes of the race left to go, so we are getting towards the end now. Keep an eye on the lead gap. It came down a few tenths that time, but it's still about 8 seconds between Rob Baker and Owen Fitzgerald.
Here's the Class B battle for second in that class. There's Pip Hammond. He is ahead of Chris Kuma by a couple of seconds, but Kuma's got Luke Handley's Honda not that far back as they turn their way out of Old Hull, but they're all still behind Chris Nyland's Honda, who's the best part of a lap ahead of them all. And you've also got the Sayat in there, that's third overall. So this could be their first podium, couldn't it, for Paul Huckley and John Gardner?
Yeah, could well be, as things stand.
And they've really pulled away from Will Ashmore now. 25 seconds, they were battling for that position earlier, so perhaps a bit of an issue for Ashmore.
Yeah, they were much closer in the early stages of this race. There's Simon Wallace. I mean, he's struggling to get ahead of Pip Hammond's car, although he's in a Class A car compared to Pip's Class B Boxster.
Yeah, third place for Gardner and Huxley will bring them right into contention in the Class A Championship.
It would indeed. That 91 car, that's sounding very rough as it's coming past me, which is explaining why that was dropping back down the order, that's for certain. I mean, while Imran Khan goes through, I mean, as far as the championship is concerned, it's gone just about as well as Imran Khan and Andrew Lightstead could have asked for today. Touch wood, it looks like they're going to get a class win. Are they getting class fastest lap as well? No, they're not. Because...
Imagine John Munro might have that.
Yeah, I mean, actually, they've only got about the 4th fastest lap, or maybe even 5th fastest lap within that class looking at things. So they'll drop 1 point there, but no finish for Steve Cheetham and no finish for the Class A leaders either, although they were much further down in the overall point standings.
Just a couple of laps probably to go now for everybody out there. See Joe Taylor, he's going to make it to the end, isn't he, in his Lotus. He's slow in.
If he times this right, he could only do about 1 more lap, I think, which is probably what he'd quite like to do. 3 minutes, 12 seconds to go. There's the Lightstead car, it's catching that slowing 91 machine.
Cleo into the pits, so this is Chris Kuma, I think, with a penalty we saw, didn't we, for those guys. So that's out of third in Class B, so Luke Handley will move into third now.
Yeah, so that changes things there. Michael Downey will be probably up to 4th as a result as well. In the boxer there, he's over the line now, the orange car. But it looks like it's going to be Chris Nyland that comes home in the Class B victory here.
Incredibly, really, after what a race they've had. There's Sam McKee, and he has got this gap still over Darren Kell of, 4.5 seconds or so. So that looks fine for second position in class. Matthew Chidmarsh, who had that incident at Druids, he's 4th still.
Yeah, that's quite an effort, isn't it? Because that was quite heavy damage, it looked, on the front of the car, but it probably was just bodywork more than anything more mechanical.
Oh, bit wide there for somebody. That's Phil Dryber, isn't it, in the Ivor Mares BMW?
Yeah, Andy Waters shared that car on occasion this season. The 91 car, which sounded rough, has now come in. The Bird BMW looks to be, well, probably out of the race unless they just take it, get it out again before the checkered flag to do a final lap. But we are now less than a lap time away from the checkered flag, so the last lap border can see is being prepared. It's going back out, the 91 car. Back into the race.
Pip Hammond's got a decent gap now for second in class over Luke Handley, hasn't he? There's that BMW that sort of just drove through the pits and went back out again. So waiting for the have we had the leaders through?
Well, I don't think here we go.
No, so they're going to have another lap, aren't they?
Yeah.
6.5 seconds apart they are, Rob Baker and Owen Fitzgerald. I think it might be tight, because at third place come through with 55 seconds on the clock, so they're just going to squeeze, I think, the two leaders one more lap in, but only just.
Yeah, it does look that way. Just trying to work out exactly where they are on circuit. 50 seconds left to go.
Yeah, slower last lap from John Gardner in the Seat, but I think should be okay for third, provided he can keep an all right pace to the end, and it won't bring Will Ashmore back into a possible podium spot.
Joe Taylor's going to have to do one more lap. He's coming across the line very slowly now, but there's only 25 seconds to go. And I think our leaders are just about at Lodge Corner. So I think we are going to get one more lap to go in this Tegiwa Club Enduro race. It's the last lap board being prepared. Last lap board goes out now with just about 10 seconds to go to our race leaders, Rob Baker, showing with Carl Swift and then Owen Fitzgerald. The gap between those two now is 5.3 seconds. It came down another 1.2 seconds that lap, Josh.
In the first half of the race, you never would have thought the battle would be that close between them, would you? So into a cascade turns Rob Baker, the reigning Civic Cup champion. He's, like we say, just 5 seconds ahead of Owen Fitzgerald, who's been going really well throughout his stint. A podium finisher in the past in this series, and it looks like they're going to add another one to that tally.
Yeah, you can see there's the leader just turning his way around Shalloy's corner, as turning into it was Owen Fitzgerald. So Rob Baker then going really well here. Good, strong stint in the Seat Leon TCR. Of course, this Giro had the Honda for the early part of the season, getting 5th, 11th, a DNF and a 9th. So it'll be their first win of the season, prompted possibly by the change in machinery, getting past that Martin Buckland Toyota there. Carl Swifter can now see, just watching from the pit wall, waiting to see the car come through. Well, you've got another 30 seconds or so yet, Carl, because it's just climbing up Clay Hill towards Druids for the final time, Josh.
Yep, so this pairing have won before in that Civic, but that was a couple of years ago now at Silverstone. Cole Swift in a similar car won the Burkitt last year, didn't he, in the overall positioning, but now they're going to take this area motorsport south. I don't think it's actually done that much racing, has it? The Deegans raced at the Burkitt, but I don't think they've done much more. But a great first stint from Cole Swift. Rob Baker's done what he needed to do, Ian, in the second hour, and they're coming through up Dearsley.
Yeah, taking the checkered flag then to win the Tegiwa Club Enduro Championship race. Up on the pit wall is Carl Swift celebrating the victory for the team, and just 4 seconds the gap at the end back to Owen Fitzgerald and Rory Hind in second place in their BMW M3. A good late surge from them, but not quite close enough to make it work. And there's our Class C winner as well.
And that's Andrew Lightstead, who started Imran Khan, finished in that BMW. So that's the 4th win of the season for Lightstead and Khan. But potentially the most extraordinary win is going to come from Class B. Through the Hislop chicane at the moment is Chris Nylon. I don't think anybody else is going to complete the amount of laps they have done. So that's Chris Nylon's just got to bring it home. And it looks like he's going to Adam Burgess doing the first stint. It's been the dominant car really in the class. The only time it was hampered was when there was that contact with another car in the middle of the race. Just going to see if Pip Hammond can hold on to second in that class as well, because they should get there first. Across the line, meanwhile, for third overall comes John Gardner, so him and Paul Huxley get their first podium.
As Pip Hammond does indeed come across the line now to take second place within Class B, pursued by Luke Handley, number 51. But yeah, so that's second and third within that class, and there is the Class B winner just going over the line now. That's Chris Nyland. So that's a good effort, given the dramas that they had in the sort of later stages of that race to get the Class B win. So Class A win to Carl Swift and Rob Baker, Class B to Chris Nyland and Alan Burgess, Class C to Adam Lightstead and Imran Khan. By my reckoning, what that does to the championship with Steve Cheetham a non-finisher today is it puts Andrew Lightstead and Imran Khan just 1 point behind in the championship. So Cheetham now has 75, Lightstead and Khan 74, and they're both now going to be dropping similar kinds of scores, I think. Darren and James Kellogg, though James not racing here today, he'll have 67 points. And then the next nearest car in the championship will be about 20 points behind them. So overall, into the last 2 meetings of the season, it's between those three, mathematically now, I think, for the championship.
It's Cheetham's won 4 and Lightstead and Khan have won 4 too, haven't they? So they've had, as you say, fairly similar seasons up to this point, with Snetterton and Silverstone still to go. And I suspect, particularly at Silverstone, we might have a really strong competition there as well, which really dice it up if we can get that into the last round. Then we've also got the Class A championship battle, which is going to be interesting, I think, with Sedgwickowski and Whitmore, Joe Taylor, the Browns, who weren't here, and the John Gardner and Paul Huxley Sayett, really all battling for that. And if Cole Swift and Rob Baker can continue this performance in that car for the rest of the season, that's going to be another car to bring into that Class A championship battle. So quite a few things to watch out for the rest of the season.
Absolutely, looking forward to Snetterton. That's in about 4 weeks' time, and then I think another fortnight after that we'll have the final meeting of the season on the Grand Prix circuit at Silverstone here towards the end of October. So look forward to seeing that. A dramatic race, quite a lot of attrition, so we lost our pole position driver Leon Bidgeway quite early on, didn't we, in his Lotus Exige. Joe Taylor had all kinds of problems in his Lotus. Of course, Luke Sedgwickowski, despite being very quick off the line, that was an early retirement, so David Whitmore didn't get to drive that car. Peter Moulsdale and Stephen Kent had that strange accident down at the hairpin. So really, of the drivers that started in the top 6 places, there was 4 of them that were in real trouble at some point during that race.
Absolutely. Just looking at the classes, for second in Class C, Sam McKee was caught by Darren Keller at the end and only beat him by about a second. So that battle went right to the flag after 2 hours of racing. It's quite an extraordinary race, as we say, with so much going on throughout the distance.
And that's the great thing about the Tegiwa Club Enduro Championship, isn't it? It's not just about the overall battle. Everyone in that race will have a story to tell, won't they? Of some incident or some drama or a great move that they made. It's just what makes it a really fantastic championship at this level.
And it's sort of proper, good old proper traditional endurance racing where you have to look after your car throughout the distance. Nowadays with GT3 racing, for example, you sort of just drive the car flat out and it won't break, and that's not the situation here. So it sort of takes you back to I say a good proper endurance race, even though it is only a couple of hours. Some people might not say that's a proper endurance race, but there's plenty of problems out there. So it's a great distance of races, and we've got 2 more to look forward to, which I'm sure will have big grids. This, with 34 starters, was the smallest grid of the year so far as well, which is pretty good success, I think.
It certainly is, and it gave a great race as well. Well, I can see that Jacob is now getting ready down in the pit lane, hopefully before too much longer. He will have some drivers to talk to. I suspect we'll have some class winners as well as the overall winners, Carl Swift and Rob Baker, for him to talk to. Before we look ahead to our remaining races, still got 4 races to come here at Oulton Park this afternoon. For those of you that were here before lunch, those 4 categories will all be back out for their second races of the day on a beautiful afternoon here at Oulton Park. We've been really blessed with some tremendous weather. I can see now drivers are now heading towards our interviewer, Jacob Harris. So I am going to go down to Jacob now, and he will see who he's got to talk to.
We're down here with Class C winner Imran. Imran, tough race out there.
Yeah, it was really tough. I think the guy that was in first place was way faster than us, but I think he had a little incident after the safety car, which is a shame for him. I really don't know where we were for most of that stint, to be honest. I think we were third, then second before my stint with Andrew driving, and then we changed over during the safety car, which I think was a really good strategy. I think we came out second, and then, the safety car came out, and I didn't really know what was going on. I just kept going as fast as I could, and I saw the MX-5 in the barriers, so I thought, no, that must be first, and yeah, fortunately it was. So we were a bit lucky today, but you got to take it when it comes.
Excellent. And we got your teammate here. Sorry, I've forgotten your name. Andrew, come on in and have a quick chat. Come on into shot. This class victory and indeed the overall result puts you in strong contention for the overall title.
Yeah, it does. And I think we've got, out of the last two, if we can just win one more, that'll be 6 victories. And then it's between us and Steve Cheetham for overall, which is a real surprise compared to where we thought we'd be just starting off. You know, his first time into Club Enduro, all a bit of a new experience. Imran tried to make the weekend difficult this morning in practice by bounding across the grass. He didn't mention that then, did he? No, but I feel really sorry for the guys in the 73 car. They were looking pretty strong today, and I just found out that the brake line snapped on their car, which, you know, it's not the way that I'd like the racing challenges to end, but yeah, can't complain actually either.
Yeah, a bit of misfortune for them. How strong are you at the remaining tracks?
I really like Snetterton. I've won there in Stockhatch, and I was running in first place in the 330 challenge last year until the very last corner where I made a slight error and lost a second. So overall, I like the circuit. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident. Imran's all right around there too. So yeah, I'm pleased with the consistency today.
Glad to hear it. Good luck for the rest of the championship, both, and thank you for chatting with me. Chris Nyland's come to speak to me, and Chris, I've spoken to you already today.
Yeah, you did once. Yeah, that was before the race. Well, we got the result we wanted. Like I said, first in class. It was very, very, very eventful. It was a very difficult race to be honest. But managed to bring the car home. We had a little bit of damage. There was a little bit of contact with one of the back markers when we were overtaking. No fault of his own, I don't think. I think he just made a mistake and then overcorrected and then straight into the side of our car. So we had to make an additional pit stop. We had a puncture, so we changed the tyre and then just managed the race from there on to the end.
And tell us a bit about we were talking about the car before, weren't we? What is it like to race?
It's hard to describe. People talk about balance, and it's just such a well-balanced car. I mean, you can take so much speed into the corner. It is lacking a little bit of power, which I believe is going to be sorted out, but it's just a fantastic car to drive.
Yeah, myself and producer David were admiring the shape. It really is a classic 90s sports car, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's got that supercar look. I believe it was one of the original, one of the first proper supercars. It was developed by Ayrton Senna. So it's got a bit of history about it, which is great. So to bring a win in our class anyway, it was great.
Brilliant. Thanks for chatting with us, and all the best for the rest of the season. We have our overall winners up next, I believe. We've already spoken to both of them during the race, but Carl, congratulations on finally completing the win.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's been a long time since we had another Club Enduro win, and using the seats the right thing, obviously.
Good switch. Do you miss the Civic?
Yeah, I mean, the Civic is fun to drive, and you are hanging it out the whole 2 hours. That were a bit more sedate, so not as much fun, but the results are what count, aren't they?
Yes, at the end of the day, it's the Garlands that tell the story. Did you enjoy yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant day.
Thanks for talking. And Rob, what differences are there between Seat Leon and the Honda Civic?
Pretty much what Carl said. The Leon carries its fuel better, loads better than the Civic does. So the Civic's quite light. You put 100 litres in it after qualifying, the lap times drop off tremendously, whereas that carries the fuel really well. And like Carl said, the Civic, you're on the edge of your seat for as long as it'll go for, and that's just a bit easier to pedal around at a decent pace.
What's the differences in aircon like? It's a very hot day today.
There's no ventilation or aircon. Fit racing drivers, you see.
So did you struggle at all in the 2 hours out there today?
Only when I got told I had to push after the last safety car, and we've got some really bad knockoff. So when you go over a curb, brake pedal goes to the floor. So the laps we were doing, we were not touching any curbs. It's obviously a lot slower than doing so. So the last few laps I had to nick a few more and pump the pedal all the way up the straight. So we'll have a look at that. But aside from that, the car's been great all weekend.
All in all, sounds like a solid race.
Yeah, good race. Car did exactly what we wanted to, and we did as a drivers pair. So dead happy.
Same again next time.
Same again next time. Snetterton, yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks for chatting with us.